I'm calling to order this hearing. This is a public hearing, actually entitled a roundtable of the Committee of the Whole of the Council of the District of Columbia. I'm Phil Mendelson, Chair of the Council and Chair of the Committee of the Whole. Today is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. The time is 4:14 in the afternoon. The subject of this hearing is Student Voices on Education in the District. The hearing notice for today's roundtable was published a couple of weeks ago. The purpose of this roundtable is to provide district students with a venue to share their views on public education based on their educational experience. The Committee of the Whole conducts oversight of education agencies, forms budgets for those agencies, and passes legislation to direct agency actions to improve outcomes for district students. To that end, the Committee of the Whole is interested in hearing about what students think of the quality of their education and the culture of their schools. More specifically, the committee is concerned with what students think of their curriculum, enrichment opportunities, relationships with their teachers and other staff, support for mental health, other challenges students face, or other topics that students see as crucial to their success in school. The record in this matter will close at 5:00 p.m. on Tuesday, April 1st. That's 2 weeks from today. So anyone who wishes to supplement their comments or is testifying but has not given us written copy of their testimony and wishes to do so, or anybody else who's not here today and wants to submit comments, 2 weeks to do so for it to be included in the record. We have 100 witnesses who have signed up to testify, and as a result, testimony is going to be limited to 3 minutes. Some folks who are testifying virtually, please be in gallery view and you will see the clock, the timer. If you're testifying in person, then you can see we have clocks all over the place to tell your time. At the moment, there are no other council members present, although I expect some. So I'm going to begin with the witnesses. If folks are testifying in person, I will stop after I get 4 people at the table. If they're virtual, then I'll stop after about somewhere between 10 and 15 witnesses. Khalik Barnes, who's student representative on the State Board of Education. Logan Thompson, who's the next group of students are Student Voice Council MICFA Challenge. You are Logan Thompson. Jade Stanback. Angie Portillo. I'm going to keep going. I can come back to her. Sade Stanback. Is it pronounced Sade? Sade. Okay. Now, let me just say, because there's so many witnesses, I may not have questions for you all, and don't take that personally. I'm here to listen. So with that, Mr. Barnes, you're first. And good afternoon. I haven't seen you in a few days.
Good afternoon, Chairman. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm Khalik Barnes. I'm a student representative at Thurgood. I'm a student at Thurgood Marshall Academy, which is located in Ward 8, serving as a student representative for the DC State Board of Education. I stand here not just as a student, but as a voice for my peers, especially in those communities such as mine, Ward 8. As a youth leader specifically located in Ward 8, I've seen the firsthand challenges that my peers may face, challenges that are not only academic, but deeply personal. Growing up in a low-income neighborhood, I've experienced the daily struggles that many in my community face. The noises of sirens, the grief of losing friends to violence, the constant pressure to survive are the realities many youth in Ward 8 endure. And we are told time and time again that crime is going down, but the truth is that we still feel the weight of it in our lives. This kind of trauma doesn't just disappear because someone says it over again. It lingers and influences our actions, thoughts, and even our dreams. But this isn't about just crime. It's about the educational system's response or the lack thereof to our needs. As a student, I see the disconnect between what our schools provide and what we truly need. When we hear leaders talk about out-of-school programs or safe spaces, it sounds good, but often it's vague. No one is asking us how we want these spaces built or what we need them inside of them to truly feel safe and empowered. Safe spaces shouldn't be just physical places, but they should be environments where our voices are heard, where we are involved in the decision-making processes, and too often they are created for us, but not with us. We, the youth, are the ones who should be shaping those spaces. We live the reality, so why aren't they being asked for our input? When we talk about enrichment opportunities, we need more than just a list of activities that may not speak to our interests or realities. We need programs that are accessible and speak to our passions, such as tech, art, entrepreneurship. We need mentorship with professionals who reflect our experiences and who can guide us in the pathways we're trying to create for ourselves. We need resource training that equips us for life after school and not just vague notions of success. Many of us, especially in communities like Ward 8, don't have the knowledge or the input of financial literacy, so that'd be great as well. So I'm here today not just highlight the problems, but often offer solutions. And I would say involving us in the process is one. When you talk about these different things such as safe spaces and enrichment opportunities or programs, involve us in it and build them with us. Then providing access to career development. We need programs that connect us to the workforce, to skill developments, and to professional in fields we are passionate about. We need increased access to mental health support. The struggles that you face today go beyond what happens in the classroom. It also is outside of the classroom with youth raising other young people, which causes them to have that burden of being rushing the older process. We need more counselors, and then we need to create pathways for young leadership. Programs should not be just about helping us fit into a system. They should be about empowering us. We cannot thrive if the youth are left behind, and if you don't listen to us now, we'll continue to feel unheard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Ms. Thompson.
Imagine having to walk into school every morning, not just thinking about your next class, but wondering if today is the last day or the day you'll have to run for your life or text your family, "I love you," just in case. This isn't just a fear, it's a reality for students across DC and the country. My name is Logan Thompson. I'm a senior, a student leader, member of NCFA's Student Voice Council, and intern at Jock Hente International. And like many of my peers, I'm tired of living in fear. Gun violence isn't just a statistic. It affects our education, our mental health, and our future. In DC, students experience lockdowns, hear about shootings too close to home, and feel the weight of constant uncertainty. But this isn't just happening in our city. Schools across the country are facing the same crisis, and instead of feeling safe, students are learning to live with fear. And for too many, that fear turns into a tragedy. We've lost classmates, friends, and siblings to gun violence. Lives cut short before they even had the chance to chase their dreams. Each name, each face represents a future stolen, a family shattered, and a community left grieving. When we hear about another student killed, it's not just another headline. It's someone's child, someone's best friend, someone who deserves more than to be remembered through a moment of silence. Yet instead of real solutions, we get more metal detectors and security cameras that make schools feel like prison. What we need is more proactive solutions, violence prevention programs, investing in community partnerships and crisis intervention to stop violence before it starts, accessible mental health support, ensuring that students dealing with trauma have real resources, not just long wait lists, and stronger gun laws and enforcement, because no student should have to live in a country where getting a gun is easier than getting help. We've had enough moments of silence, enough memorials for students who should still be here. It's time for action. Every student, whether in DC or anywhere in the US, deserves to feel safe in their neighborhood, their school, and in their own classroom. So I ask, will you help make that a reality? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. What school do you go to?
School Without Walls.
Okay. Thank you. Sade, stand back.
Jade or Shaj?
Oh, I probably misspoke. Yeah, I did speak. Jade, stand back. My apologies.
Good afternoon. Allow me to prove to you that what affects me will affect you. My name is Jade Stanback, a senior at Coolidge High School who aspires to be an educator and serve to youth of any background. There's a source in our education system that sometimes exceeds but mainly fails to reach past its limit and is the most prominent tool to success, and that is knowledge. How are students expected to graduate if what they're supposed to learn isn't effectively being taught in school? Or how are students expected to be challenged if what's available is what's only available? Well, I want to tell you that this knowledge that we speak of isn't accessible to everyone. The Sustainable Development Goals are meant to raise awareness about sustainability inside and outside of our communities. From ensuring zero hunger to promoting animal welfare to supporting global partnerships, these goals are the template to developing the world as a whole. We are supposed to reach the SDGs implementation by 2030, yet not everyone understands the value and importance of sustainability. My school, Coolidge High School, recently started construction on a cafeteria due to the lack of an actual cafeteria, as the gym and atrium are the only provided spaces for students to eat. Our only garden amplified 9 of the 17 SDGs, which is a big step to participating in sustainability, yet it was destroyed to build this said cafeteria. Now, this garden is gone. Students, staff, and teachers are restricted from having hands-on agricultural experiences. This is only one of many instances where sustainability is felt to be acknowledged. However, it's important to recognize that if we don't understand or know the value of something, then we don't care. So here are some suggestions. Instead of carbon production, how about carbon reduction? Instead of misinformation, give us quality education. Whether that's creating hands-on curriculum or for students to increase classroom engagement, or giving students access to complex literature so they can enhance their critical thinking, or funding core subjects so students can apply what they learn to their everyday lives during and after high school. But if you don't remember all that, I want you to remember this. Knowledge is like currency. Its value is what you make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stanback. Sade Stanback?
Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the
Two
committee.
sisters?
Yes, we're twins.
Twins. Okay.
Yes.
I finally figured that out. All right. Please proceed. Start over.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee. My name is Sade Stanback, and I'm here today to testify about the lack of college and career readiness resources for students in Washington, D.C. As someone who has struggled with finding a career I want to pursue, have seen how limited access to college and career readiness programs affect students from under-resourced schools. Many students do not receive guidance on financial aid, scholarships, or college applications, and it's imperative for students to have college and career preparation because it creates a foundation for post-secondary success, given that we are the future. Furthermore, it assures that when students graduate, they have the skills, knowledge, and support necessary to succeed in higher education or workforce. Oops, sorry. Okay. Sorry, I just lost. Sorry about that. Okay, as a senior in high school, I'm fortunate enough to have strong connections with my college and career coordinators and guidance counselor. However, there aren't enough to aid all students. Additionally, not all students may have access to computers at home, so they have to rely on resources that they have in school to provide for them. According to the Benton Institute for Broadband and Society reports that about 88,000 residents and approximately 39,000 households in Washington, D.C. lack high-speed internet. This data gives an idea that many students may not have access to reliable internet in their homes, which creates a barrier for them to do their own research on resources they may need. The shortages of college and career counselors in every school exacerbates this issue, leading students without essential support. To address this issue, I recommend the DC Council and school leaders to increase funding for college and career counseling so that every high school has dedicated trained staff to guide the students. Expand partnerships with local businesses, trade programs, and universities to provide mentorship, internships, and hands-on career training. Improve access to financial aid workshops and college readiness programs to ensure that students and families understand their post-secondary options. Students deserve a future where they are fully prepared for college and career success. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Three of you did not give me written statements. If you want to, please do so that we can have them for the record. Just out of curiosity, how many college and career counselors are there at Coolidge High School?
Two.
2. And how many students? It's like 1,000, isn't it?
Yeah, just about like 1,400. I would like to add on, there's two like sectors in Coolidge. We have the Early College Academy. They have their own college, have their own college and career counselor, and she supports 25 students, whereas the other two counselors support over 250 students. So
School Without Walls, how many counselors?
In terms of like grade level, we all have 2. So 2 per grade.
Okay, and you're smaller than 1,000, as I recall.
We have about 500 students, maybe.
And Mr. Burns, I don't know what school you go to. You're in Ward 8. You go to-
Thurgood Marshall. It's like
Yes, you said that.
300 kids and we only got 3. That's enough for us though.
3 for 300, 2 for 1,000. Okay, yeah, it's the same. I know my math's not good. Thank you, each of you, for your testimony. Please provide your statements if you would. You're excused. I'm going to call the next group. Angie Portillo, if she's here, please come forward. Brooklyn Payne, Aisha Silla, and Sharon Stewart. If she's not in the room, then Meklit Habtib. Ms. Portillo, you're first.
Yes. Right. Good afternoon, members of the DC Council. I'm here today to address a pressing.
Get a little closer to the microphone.
Sorry. Good afternoon, members of the DC Council. I'm here today to address a pressing issue that affects the daily lives of the students, the condition of our school bathrooms. First and foremost, I know many school students that hold in their urine and feces in school until they're home. It's important to recognize that a clean and functional bathroom is essential for the health and well-being of our students. Unfortunately, many bathrooms in Roosevelt High School, which is the school I attend, is in a state of disrepair. We have bathroom stalls that don't have a door or have doors that don't close properly, which compromises the students' privacy. This is simply unacceptable in an environment where students should feel safe and secure. Additionally, we have toilets that are leaking onto the floors. This not only creates a hazardous environment, but also contributes to unsanitary conditions that can lead to health issues. It's cruel to think that our students are forced to use facilities that are not only uncomfortable, but can potentially be harmful. Moreover, the lack of soap in dispensers is a significant concern. Proper hand hygiene is critical in preventing the spread of illness, especially in a school setting. Without soap, we are failing to provide our students with the basic tools they need to stay healthy. Lastly, the shortage of custodians aggravates these issues. Our school staff work hard, but they are stretched thin. With insufficient personnel, it's impossible to maintain cleanliness and functionality of our bathrooms. Upgrading the facilities and increasing the number of custodians will ensure our schools provide a safe and hygienic environment for all students. In conclusion, I urge the DC Council to prioritize our school bathrooms. It's not just about fixing doors or toilets, it's about ensuring that our schools have a healthy, safe, and dignified place to take care of their needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Payne.
Good afternoon. My name is Brooklyn Payne, and I'm here to speak on the housing crisis in DC that is forcing Native Washingtonians out of their own city. For years now, we see prices higher than our pay, luxury apartments replacing affordable homes, and longtime residents, especially Black and low-income families, are being pushed out or left on the streets of DC. DC is becoming a city where only the wealthy can live, while the people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into this city are being displaced. Housing is not just a place to sleep. It affects education, healthcare, employment, and safety. When families who can barely afford DC as it is gets priced out of their homes, they lose access to their jobs, their kids get pulled out of school, and they're left with no support system. Displacement increases homelessness, separates communities, and further deepens inequality. DC's native Black population, which was once the majority of DC, is shrinking as gentrification takes over. We cannot allow the people who built this city to be erased from it. Rent in DC has increased by over 20% since the pandemic, with the average one-bedroom apartment costing around $2,400 per month. Nearly half of DC renters are considered cost burdened, meaning they spend over 30% of their income on rent. Isn't it crazy how homelessness has actually increased by 12% in the past year while luxury developments continue to rise? This is not okay. People in my community are being forced to make inhumane and ridiculous choices, paying rent or buy food, stay in DC and struggle or leave their families behind. I've seen lifelong residents pushed out of DC with no direction or support. I've seen our elders on living off the retirement plans evicted from homes they've lived in their whole entire life. How does this happen? How are there people sleeping on the sidewalks just blocks away from $1 million condos? This is not about housing. This is about who gets to call DC their home. What I urge council to do is increase funding for affordable housing because a lot of affordable housing is still too expensive for our residents. We also need to strengthen tenant protections to stop landlords from raising rent unfairly or evicting people without just cause. Lastly, I feel we should invest in anti-displacement programs that keep long-term renters from being pushed out. DC should not just be a city based on income. It should be a city where people who have lived here for generations can stay, grow, and continue to be the culture and the history of DC. The housing crisis is not just a statistic. It is real, and it is affecting families every single day. If we let this continue, we will lose the very people who made DC what it is. I urge you to take action before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Payne. Ms. Silla?
Good evening. My name is Aisha Silla and I attend school at Walls Heights School. 2 years ago, I was looking out the window of my mother's room. I was excited to see my siblings come home after I had been sick and missed school. As I peeled back the curtains, to my surprise, I saw my 12-year-old brother and 10-year-old sister watching as another boy pulled out a pocket knife. The boy, while showing off this knife, had clicked the button to make the blade come out. The world felt like it stopped for a moment. I had many questions going through my head. Like, how did he get this knife? Why are my siblings trying to touch it? I was scared, angry, and extremely disappointed. I quickly opened the window and yelled for my siblings to come inside. This followed with a very emotional conversation about what I had just seen. I knew that something needed to be changed. My siblings needed a role model and, most importantly, a mentor. This situation is too common for DC's Black youth, being exposed to violence in and outside the home. In Ward 7 and 8, who have 31 to 35% of youth under the poverty line, this increases their struggles with food insecurity, neighborhood violence, family stress, and mental health issues. With parents spending majority of their time working to provide, these youth continue to get exposed to the harms of their environment and become bound to the path of hardship. But this all stops when these children have a mentor, a person who is dedicated to guiding them. This is a person who can help them with the hardships that some children don't feel comfortable sharing with their family or friends. Mentors help meet the basic human need of letting a young person know they matter and they're not alone. This is important because our youth feel like they are alone. They eat dinner alone. They're doing their homework alone, and they're going through critical periods of their life alone. Investing in our youth by providing them with a mentor that can help with personal and educational struggles can change the trajectory of their lives. This can be attainable by working with colleges to allow students majoring in education or social work to intern at DCPS schools and have a group of students they become a mentor of, or high school students gaining community service hours by working with middle schools to become mentors to students in need. We can also work with local organizations to give support to students and provide them with mentors. I also urge you to fund the Youth Mentorship through Community Engagement Act. Having a community that invests into our youth will allow us to build a future where children are supported and not alone. Today, I still worry for my brother and sister, and I try to be the best role model to them and mentor them. But I know there are more children in DC waiting for the opportunity to have a person to guide them. By investing in mentorship programs, you will make that wait just a little bit shorter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Silla. Meklit Habteeb?
McLeod, yes.
Hello, my name is McLeet Hoptob. I'm a student in Benjamin Banneker Academic High School, and I will be testifying on gun violence in DC. What if we didn't have to worry about school shootings? What if students can walk to and from home without having to worry about being shot? As a high school student in Washington, D.C., it is frightening to see new shootings daily in our city caused by many youth. It is important to create better safety precautions to protect the citizens in our city. Major topics I will be talking about today are better restrictions on gun trafficking and creating mentoring programs for specific youth. On the topic on gun trafficking, DC needs to strengthen their gun laws by creating laws on neighboring states so guns can't simply be acquired by easily getting it from a different state. According to Fox 5 DC, in 2024, a lawsuit was filed against 3 Maryland gun dealers for facilitating illegal gun trafficking into the district. There should be better ways to combat illegal channels and fix the patchwork of DC gun laws so situations like this won't happen again. Adding on, the youth contributing to gun violence in our city should be required to take a juvenile mentoring program. The purpose of the mentoring program is to reduce negative outcomes coming out of juvenile detention, such as more gun violence, substance use, and gang affiliation. Making sure that the youth in DC get the help they need after juvenile detention is critical so they won't circle back to their old ways. The topics that I have spoken about today needs to be considered and fixed immediately. Youth in DC shouldn't have to be afraid to walk outside or go to school. Our city needs to prioritize citizen safety and take action on gun violence. Thank you.
Thank you. And your last name is Hobtob?
Hoptob, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, each of you. Your testimony is good. We're at a little bit of a disadvantage because we don't have copies of it. So again, I encourage you to submit copies. Ms. Portillo, I just want to say briefly that we've heard complaints about bathrooms and other aspects of school facilities. Some of that is a decision by the principal or by DCPS Central. Sometimes it's because there's a different agency, Department of General Services, that's responsible. I assure you there are, I think of the 12 council members, there are 12 who are frustrated with DGS for not doing enough. So if like there is a broken sink, that's on DGS. But like if there's not enough toilet paper, that's on the school. And trust me, we put enough money in the budget that shouldn't be an issue. And I just also want to say the Ms. Payne, with regard to housing, we completely agree with you on the importance of that. We've been joined by Councilmember Fruman. If you have any questions or anything to say.
Sure. Thank you very much, Chairman Mendelson. Thank you, Chairman Mendelson, for holding this hearing. It's a great thing to do. Thank you for all of your testimony. I have to say, the issues about bathrooms, we hear about it in lots of places, trying to be all over it on housing. Also share your views, the views on gun violence and the threats, like the kind of thing that you saw out your mother's window. These have to be the top priorities for our city. For me, while you raise serious issues, I find the whole process so heartening to hear our young people speak so articulately and passionately about the issues that are important to all of us. So thank you very much. We don't have hearings that have this much of a support system where after everyone testifies, there's a round of applause. That too is a little heartening. So thank you very much to all of you.
Actually, Councilmember, if it was a room of adults, we would say no applause. So thank you, each of you, for your testimony. I'm going to move on to the next group. Jerome Stewart, has she come in? Kennedy Samora. Aiden Burney. Tanisha Simmons. I see people stand up. I don't know if they're coming over here. I'm going to keep going then. Winnie Chan. You have to come forward in order to testify. And Jalen Link. Lauren Destry. So I think Shrom Stewart's not here. Kennedy Samura. That's what I said. Not. Please proceed.
My name is Kennedy Summer. I go to Dunbar, and I'm talking about the lack of professionalism. One day, my friend and I were walking on the overlook at my school. My friend had an injury, so we stopped for a moment. Suddenly, a dean approached us and asked us what we were doing. We explained that we were just taking a break because of my friend's injury. The dean told us we were fine and offered assistance if we needed it. While this sounded like a typical story, unfortunately, it didn't happen this way. Let me explain what actually took place. My friend and I stopped on the overlook due to her injury, and as we sat there, the dean came up and said, "What the F are you guys doing here?" I looked at my friend in confusion and disbelief, and I told the dean we were just taking a moment because of my friend's injury. The dean replied, "As long as you guys aren't causing any trouble, I don't really give a F." As a student, I feel ashamed to say that I've seen security guards instigating fights and engaging in conversations that talk about fights. As a current DCPS student, I worry about future generations and my younger siblings who will soon enter the system. I believe in building community. We want students to feel welcome, and even minor interactions like asking how their day was can make a big difference. However, we shouldn't sacrifice professionalism to make students feel welcome. We need to have high expectations for our climate and culture. I have interactions with some adults that feel professional while others do not. It would be great if they can model better communication skills. I only have a few teachers who I feel are truly preparing me for the future. The issue is that adult-student interactions need to have standards. Right now, I don't feel like I'm being treated as a young adult. I believe the first step of solving this issue is having clear expectation and guidelines for the adults who take on the roles of security guards and deans. This means that the head director of climate and culture should make clear expectations for the professional behavior, which could be done through code of conduct, employee handbooks, or even training sessions. According to the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning, some professional conduct and education includes being honest and responsible, treating others with fairness, and treating others with civility and decency. I want to highlight treating others with civility and decency, which means interacting with people in a respectful, polite, and considerate manner. If you think about it, we live and go to school, and hopefully we'll work here in Washington, D.C., the most powerful city in the world. It is imperative that we, the students, are prepared for the professional opportunities that this city presents. We deserve to be treated with professionalism and respect today, tomorrow, and always. Thank you, and remember, to be professional means that you represent yourself in a manner to be admired. I hope that I've done that today.
You have. Thank you very much. And you're at Dunbar.
Mhm.
Thank you. Aiden Burney?
Good afternoon. Imagine this thing of watching your only way to school drive off, knowing a 40-minute wait stretches ahead. Unfortunately, this is a reality for many students who attend MacArthur High School. Hi, my name is Aiden Burney, and I'm a sophomore at MacArthur High School. I take the bus every day to and from school. Consistent problems that students have lie within the WMATA transport system. We only have one bus line that brings us to and from school, which is the D6. As some of you may know, this bus line has various problems such as operator availability and heavily staggered bus times. These problems cause students to miss classes, and due to this, they are unable to take in valuable material. In addition, safety is a major problem due to most of the students getting off at one bus stop. There have been several instances when people have waited for students to get off the bus and attacked them. This has caused innocent students to be involved in quarrels that they have no part in. To counter this, I suggest we first add more bus lines to and from MacArthur and increase the frequency of the D6. By adding more bus routes, it will be easier for students to get to metro lines faster and will allow for less crowding on the buses, which would give people coming from Georgetown more space, as well as increasing the frequency. Increasing the frequency of the D6 would allow for students who face red line delays to get to and from school faster. Please work with me to make sure MacArthur can be as successful as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Winnie Chan?
Good afternoon. My name is Winnie Chan, and I'm a high school student at Banneker High School, and I'm a member of the Ward 8 community. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak here today. Imagine being a student who has to take 2 buses just to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. Imagine trying to focus in class after eating nothing but processed foods because fresh, healthy options are just too far away. This is the reality for many students in Ward 8. Despite having over 80,000 residents, we have only a handful of full-service grocery stores, while other parts of DC have multiple stores within walking distance. This isn't just about food. It's about education. Poor nutrition leads to higher rates of diabetes and heart disease, but it also affects our ability to learn, concentrate, and succeed in school. Studies show that students who lack access to healthy food struggle with focus, energy, and cognitive development. If we want better academic outcomes, we must first ensure students have the nutrition they need. That's why I urge the DC Council to 1, incentivize grocery stores to open in Ward 8 through grants. 2, expand funding for markets and mobile food programs to bring fresh produce to our neighborhoods. 3, partner with schools to create community gardens and nutrition programs so students have direct access to food programs. 4, improve public transportation routes to better connect Ward 8 communities and families to grocery stores. These solutions aren't just about convenience, they're about equity and education. No student should have to choose between eating a healthy meal and making it to school on time. Food is a basic right, and addressing this issue is essential for the future of DC students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chan. Lauren Destry?
Hello, my name is Lauren Destry, and I am a student at Benjamin Banneker Academic High School. I am speaking to you today to advocate for increased government provision in the public education system. I have been in DC public education for about 4 years now. After reviewing other districts and countries' education systems, I have noticed that DCPS is falling behind in providing a good education for its students. As I will be going into college in the upcoming fall, I don't believe that DCPS has fully prepared me to be in the right place academically. This is not just an issue I face, but other people I know as well. For instance, my good friend Ayo recently graduated from McKinley Tech in DC, and he now attends Cornell University. Though it is a great accomplishment of his, he finds it hard to compete academically with his counterparts that had access to a much better education since they came from private schools. I believe that it isn't fair for students to not be able to have the best education due to their family's financial situations. All children should have access to a great education because we are the next generation of leaders. Our biggest fear shouldn't be ignorance because knowledge is the path to power and freedom. There is a big gap between education in public and private schools, which I strongly desire to see change. Private schools tend to have more money, which will provide better resources for students to have better performance. They have better technology, specialized curriculums, and smaller class sizes. In contrast, not all public schools have the best technology. We follow a standardized curriculum, and class sizes tend to be between 20 to 30 students. It's very hard to learn in an environment with 20 to 30 students because a teacher cannot cater to everyone's needs. According to DCPS's database, in 2023 to 2024, the average SAT score was 925. According to the private school review, the average SAT score for private school students in 2024 was 1386. This shows the huge gap in the education system. Our public schools are not doing a good job in preparing students to succeed in college. A better curriculum with smaller class sizes and well-educated teachers will best benefit the students in public schools. The only way we can get these better resources would to be have increased funding and better curriculums and well-educated teachers. The DCPS budget includes enrollment, targeted support, and year-over-year stability, yet our students still are lacking in resources we need to succeed. Some people might say that increasing funding and education isn't necessary or won't make a change in the system, but as a student that has been in both private and public schools, there is definitely a huge educational difference. With more money, our public school students could have better opportunities to succeed in life and would feel like they could be something in the world and make a meaningful change. It is very sad that so many students in public schools in DC believe that there is no chance for them to have a bright future because they don't learn in school. Council members, I believe that you are more than capable of leading a change in the education of our upcoming generation. Our community needs leaders like you that care to bring a change in the education system. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Destry. I'm limiting my questions because there's so many witnesses, but I do want to ask you, Mr. Burney, MacArthur's a new high school. How do you like it? What do you think of it?
I think it's a really good school, and especially for DCPS, I think it's really good because I think to their point about the readiness for college, we take harder classes. They started implementing more like AP classes, for example. So I think it's a really good step, like for newer schools in the future, and student life is pretty good in my opinion.
Thank you. Councilmember Fruman, if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. I want to thank all of the witnesses for their testimony. I'm going to have to leave shortly because I'm going up to MacArthur because there's a sit meeting to talk about the plans for further construction there. But thank you very much for coming and advocating for that. We are very focused on the frequency of the D6, so thank you for raising that. And thank you to all of you for your testimony.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Henderson, if you have any questions.
Just a couple. So I actually was listening to some of the testimony in my office. And I apologize, I didn't catch anyone's name, but I did catch topics. So the young woman who's in the Democracy is a Verb shirt, I think you were speaking about grocery stores. And one of the things you talked about was financial incentives in terms of the types of grocery stores. I chair the health committee, so we've had ongoing conversations about food access and low food access areas. I'm curious, there are some people who really feel like we need a full service grocery store. And then there are some folks who feel like I want a market that meets my community needs, that's designed by the community, run by the community, et cetera. How do you think young people sort of think about these things? Is it has to be a Safeway or a Giant, or are you looking for something that could be a little bit more unique?
For me, I am a resident of Ward 8, and I think that a lot of youth tend to rely on certain like stores that are not as healthy. So like these stores are like convenience stores, but I think personally, like just grocery stores in general, like it doesn't have to be like a mini market, like just big change grocery stores where there's accessibility to fruits and vegetables, I think is good.
So your big thing is around accessibility to fresh fruits and vegetables.
Right.
Got it. Okay. And the young woman on the end, when I caught your testimony, you were talking about SAT scores or ACT scores in comparison or otherwise. One of the things that I've always sort of questioned about DC is that we pay for every student to take the SAT for free, but we don't provide SAT prep across the board for everyone else. I didn't catch though what you feel like should be a main solution in trying to address some of these issues.
I think a big solution would probably be having better curriculums, well-trained teachers that actually know how to teach. Some teachers, I feel like they don't have the passion to teach, so like they just come and just get the money. And then I have teachers that like are really passionate about what they do, and they take time to like actually help each student with their needs.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is definitely, students know who is in it for real versus those who are in it just as a means. But thank you. Thank you for all of your testimony and for participating today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you all for your testimony. And please feel free to submit written copies. The next group, Alexis Smith, Johnny or Janny Cousins, Carlone Leach. You're Miss Cousins? Janae. Brandon Mingo. Jessica the Coolest. Nima Geta or Gita. Ania Parker. Is Ania Parker here? Armani Evans. Bradford Brown. I mispronounced this last time before, and I'm going to do it again. DJ Samur. Gianna Book. Right, we have 4 people there. Let me see. I'd called Alexis Smith. She's not here. Janae Cousins, you're up. Hit your microphone.
Good afternoon. My name is Janae Cousins. I'm 17 years old. I attend Cesar Chavez Public Charter School for Public Policy. I live in Ward 7, and I'm here on behalf of DC Action Youth Advisory Team and on behalf of MICBA Challenge. My journey with out-of-school time programs began my sophomore year of high school in 2022. I joined my school student government organization, and at the time, I had no idea of how much this decision would change my life. In student government, we were responsible for shaping the culture and the community of our school by planning pep rallies, senior trips, funding class activities, and even our work didn't stop there. We organized service events like feeding the homeless, and we had the opportunity to attend an affordable housing hearing where I met the mayor. And through these experiences, I have discovered my passion for public speaking. From there, I kept pushing myself to do more. I joined Tech Turn Up, where I created an affordable housing project to advocate for affordable housing. Then I became a part of LearnServe International's continuing my advocacy work. Continuing from there, I interned at the Office of Attorney General with the Safety Justice Council for DC through MICBA Challenge. And through all that, I stand here with DC Action through the opportunities that the OST programs gave me. But this isn't just about my accomplishments. It's about the impact that these programs had on my life. I come from a low-income family, and I struggle with being very social. But through these programs, they have broke down the barriers of those struggles for me, and they have introduced me to long life friends, mentors, and even council members. Because of OST program, I have traveled outside of the DMV for the first time, and they have provided me with stipends, food, and resources during difficult times for my family. And this is just the beginning. OST programs just don't keep students busy. They change lives. They help students like me grow, find our voices, and build brighter futures. That's why I encourage you to continue to supporting and expanding OST programs. Because when you invest in OST programs, you invest in the young people that will one day lead this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cousins. Caroline Leach.
My name is Carlone Leach, and I will be testifying on the need to reform the juvenile justice system. Think about being 15 and making one bad choice. Now imagine that choice following you forever. This is what happened to many young people in DC juvenile system who don't get the right to turn their lives around. The current system focuses too much on punishment and not enough on helping kids build better life. Without strong rehabilitation programs, young people don't learn new skills, they miss too much school, and many lose hope, leading them back into the system. The DYRS and other programs have tried to offer educational opportunities, but gaps remain. Many detained youth still struggle with access to consistent schooling, mental health support, and job training that could help them succeed once they're released. Without good rehab programs, young people don't learn new skills. They miss too much school, and many lose hope and end up back in trouble. The DC Council should add more job training programs and make sure every kid keeps up with school, provide better health support, and stay connected with their families. A strong investment in these areas will make a real difference, not just for the young people affected, but for the entire community. Give these young people real tools to build better lives, not just time behind walls. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leach. What school do you go to?
I go to McKinley Tech High School.
All right, thank you. Nima Geta?
Yes, hello, my name is Nima Geta, and hello, Council. I hope you're doing great on this lovely afternoon. I'm a junior speaking about first-generation high schools and their college process. I didn't know what a scholarship was until I was 16 years old. Usually at that age, you're supposed to be unaware about other things, like financial literacy or how to talk to boys, and that's normalized. However, knowing about transcripts, internships, and college essays are supposed to be a common knowledge thing. For roughly 50% of US high schoolers who are first generation, just like me, they go through the same thing as I do. As a freshman entering Benjamin Banneker Academic High School, a known college preparatory high school in DC, it is assumed that us students are supposed to know about all the necessities of college. But growing up with no older siblings and parents who have only received a high school diploma in Ethiopia, a country that struggles with their secondary education, it's difficult to understand the next chapter of one's life after they leave the comforts and ignorance of high school. I went through the entirety of freshman year without knowing that college looks at my final grades. Insane to another high school freshman who started internships at the age of 14 years old. While trying to talk to my friend about the struggles of not receiving knowledge about the college process and the things a student needs to stand out to colleges, she told me it was common knowledge. However, what she did not realize was that it was common knowledge to her. Her father was a professor at New York University and graduated from University of Chicago, whereas my father didn't know that you had to have community service in order to graduate. Even though I'm a student at Banneker, we are unable to receive these kinds of information, particularly until you're in your junior year. For everyone, it varies, but for the vast majority, college is a mystical fantasy until you're forced to realize the truth about the Common App. I am not the only one. I am only part of the statistics who are forced to educate themselves on things they should have been given in their early days of freshmen at their respective high schools. Only 26% of first-generation high school students went on to get their degree in college because they realized the truth about college at such a late point of their high school journey. For DCPS to excel and play a part in making sure all students have a chance at secondary education means we must look out for the little guy. It means that DCPS has to rise up and see the kids waving their hands frantically for help who don't know they even have to write an essay for college. These people exist, and the fact that we ignore it is preposterous. We must make sure that we can at least reduce the amount of high school students unaware of the things that colleges are looking for so they can be ready and confident about applying to any secondary education they may wish to receive. Programs within public high schools in DC that are strictly college preparatory based and first generation based. It can be an elective from freshman year, required and onwards in order to graduate, which can actually motivate students to go to college because they've accomplished so much in 4 years. They'll feel confident because they know they have spent 4 years preparing for their next 4 years of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Guerra. And Gianna Book?
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Gianna Book from Theodore Roosevelt High School. Imagine that you're sitting in class and suddenly you feel something cold and wet trickling down your leg. You realize blood coming down from your leg in the middle of class. You look around, hoping no one notices. But the feeling of embarrassment washes over you like a wave. Panic settling in the embarrassment due to the fact that you don't have access to menstrual products, not just at school, but at home. 1 in 5 students report missing school because they don't have access to menstrual products. This not only affects their education, but also their emotional well-being. The fact is that the Council of the District of Columbia passed an act to provide free period products in all district government buildings, including schools. However, in my school, we barely have any products, and when we do, the products are terrible and have poor quality. As you might know, we put these products in our bodies. We shouldn't have to put products that give us irritations or even worse. I believe that the council needs to implement this and make it accessible for not only in schools, but to bring to home. It's beyond frustrating to feel like your basic rights are ignored. Not having access to products that help you manage something as essential as menstruation is not only a matter of personal inconvenience, but it is a violation of basic human dignity. Everyone deserves the right to feel normal, to manage their cycle without fear or shame, and to not ostracize because of something that is beyond their control. Having access to proper menstrual care is a necessity, not a luxury. The way society treats mental health reflects how deeply ingrained inequality is, and it needs to be changed. No one should have to face this struggle in silence. Many of my peers are not able to purchase menstrual products due to the high prices. Many can't afford menstrual products because of the high prices, and the products cost between $5 and $20 per box. Depending on the brand and type, and for low-income students or families, that is simply too much to bear. When someone is forced to choose between food, transportation, or basic health need like menstrual products, something is deeply wrong. Council members, we need to take action. We need to make sure that no student has to endure this kind of hardship. Providing access to free menstrual products in schools, this is not about providing luxury, it's about providing quality and dignity. It's time for a change, and together we can make a difference.
Thank you for your testimony. Colleagues, just a note, if you haven't noticed yet, the protocol today is that there is applause after each witness. As I said earlier, with adults, we usually don't allow applause. Thank you, each of you, for your testimony. I've been trying to refrain from asking too many questions just because there's so many witnesses. But Ms. Book, I have to say I'm kind of shocked because we did pass the law, as you noted, and so there's no excuse that adequate and quality products are not available. The committee of the whole has oversight over DCPS, so we will inquire of them and push them to the extent that we can. After, we're just the council, we're not the executive branch that implements the laws, but we will push them to better that situation. Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to this panel of witnesses. Janae, I thought your testimony about out-of-school time was super powerful. One of the things that we've often talked to DCPS about is they do a really good job of out-of-school time in elementary grades. And then once you get to middle school, they're like, and you're out at 3:15. Good luck to you. And so we've really been trying to get them to develop more programs at schools. You talked a little bit about well, sorry, you go to Chavez, sorry. Same difference. You talked a little bit about the programs that you're doing sort of outside of school, but are there clubs and things like that if you wanted to be engaged at your school, right after school, you could do that too? Okay, great. Is it NEMA? Okay, I thought your testimony was also equally powerful and interesting around the assumptions that we make about particularly students who are at Banneker or any of the application schools. I think, Mr. Leach, you say you went to McKinley Tech in the same way, that we have an assumption that what is going to happen in the next 4 years there. I'm curious if you've done any sort of advocacy within the school community around starting the conversations about college preparation, not in your junior year, but in your freshman year.
In my freshman year, it was highly unpopular that people would talk about college. And if they would, it would be the people who had parents who had already went to college. I am a child of immigrants. My parents never went to college. They never even thought about college. They didn't know what really college was. So I was completely lost about everything until literally this year. And Banneker does an okay job at doing it. I think that they mostly focus on it in 11th grade, which is the pivotal year, which doesn't make much sense and doesn't help us as much. I think that other students, they tend to talk about it more in freshman year, but then college becomes kind of like a burden, because I had a conversation a while ago and people said that if people in our grade, because Banneker is supposed to be a college preparatory school, people were talking about how if you go to any school above an 80% acceptance rate, you're considered a failure, which is insane, because I know a lot of people who went to schools above 80% acceptance rate and they're doing amazing in life. But yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a larger conversation that we have to have about perception. In high school very long ago, I went to a college prep school, but when you got in, then we had a conversation around what are the steps, and let's plan out your next 4 years to get you to where you need to go. whether it be a four-year institution, a two-year institution, the Army, the military, or, you know, a career. And so I feel like that should be the experience for everyone else. I echo what the chairman said about the menstrual product piece, and we'll certainly follow up with both DCPS and public charter schools about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Felder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First and foremost, thank you, students, for being here. It takes a lot of courage to come and testify in front of the council and just to make sure that we have a full understanding of some of the challenges that you guys go through on a day-to-day basis. So I do want to thank you all. Ms. Cousins, you attend Chavez, which is in Ward 7. I'm your Ward 7 council member. So definitely want to be supportive in any way, shape, or form that I can be. You mentioned out of school time programs. Could you speak to your experience in terms of what has been the best out of school time program that you have attended or experienced?
I would say that that's a difficult question.
Okay.
'Cause I would say like all of the out of school time programs that I have been in, there has been at least one person, one advisor, one attendee who has always like had a huge impact on my life,
Okay.
especially the adults generally. But like, yeah, all of them have had some sort of benefit or impact to my life. So it really doesn't matter which out of school time program it was. I feel like the benefit of the out of school time program generally for each person individually, it has some sort of impact or benefit on your life, no matter what kid it is. Even if you didn't like the program, at least you did it. At least you gained something from it. It had to be something. It doesn't matter if it was a resume builder. It doesn't matter if it was the stipend you get from it. It doesn't matter if it was sheltering you after school or if you found friends. I feel like all of them have impacted my life in more ways than one. So yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Cousins. Mr. Leach, you attend McKinley Tech. I'm a McKinley Tech alum, so I appreciate you for being here. You spoke about the justice system and young folks getting engaged, being involved, and they shouldn't be held accountable. Is there any thing that you think the council could do, whether it's rolling out a program, whether it's implementing a policy that creates more opportunities for young folks so they don't have to go down that path?
I do think they should make like a program, like maybe an out of school program too.
Okay.
Just so when kids go through the program, through the system, they just don't come back. And yeah.
I appreciate you, Mr. Leach. And Miss Jetta? Miss Getta, pardon me. As a first generation college graduate myself, I understand what you go through. And I appreciate you for your due diligence and your persistence to further your education. Could you speak to, from your perspective, what improvements do you suggest that the district could implement to help your college preparation experience?
Yeah, no problem. So I know that DCPS is majority, this high school students are first generation as well.
Mhm.
And I think that, as I stated previously in my testimony, I think what would really benefit high school students would be a program like an elective
Okay.
that is required to graduate from freshman year to senior year. It seems a lot, but a little could go a long, long way. Even like just a semester, which is mostly for first generation students, but anyone are allowed to take it, but it's mostly first generation based because we don't have a lot of resources as a lot of people do.
Mhm.
And because I know that non-first generation students, their parents can get connections, not the same way that we can. And I think that programs at high school for those, so like an elective, would really benefit them. And that would actually motivate students much more because doing all of that work for 4 years just to use it during the application for college would actually motivate students more. It would make DCPS play a part in the diversity of college students and making more students from DCPS go to secondary education and feel more motivated to go there. And yeah.
That's a terrific idea. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you.
We should work on that together.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your questions. Councilmember Parker, if you have
Thank
any
you.
questions.
And thank you all for your testimony. I walked in halfway through this panel, so I don't really have questions. But I would say as the chairman of the council's Committee on Youth Affairs, I'm super excited to be here. I'm even more excited to see the chamber filled with young people. And I would encourage you all to keep using your voices. So I'm going to turn it back so we can get to the next panel. But again, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you all for your testimony. Again, feel free to give us written copies. I think we have it from one of you. This book, have your statement. So thank you, all of you. You're excused. I'm going to call the next group. Helen Short. Javante Givens. Is Javante Givens, is that you? Crystal Moore. Is Crystal Moore here? Morgan Teague. Shaylin Clark. Shaylin Clark here. Sharon Petrick. Troy Ward. Is Troy Ward here? Zion Grady. I think I pronounced that correctly. Zion Grady. Xavier Van Croft. You are excellent. Are you Javante Givens? Please proceed. And good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman Milderson, council members, staff, and members of the public. I am Javante McCollum, a young king at Ron Brown College Preparatory High School. Thank you for holding this hearing on the topic students that are chronically absent. At my school, the principal, educators, and staff do several things to ensure that we feel like we belong. Firstly, we call ourselves young kings and not students. We call ourselves young kings because we are expected to be great. Community circle, which helps young kings feel welcome as well as loved. We learn more about each other, community members, and ancestors that paved the way for us. We have more off-campus learning opportunities and experience than just about any other school that I can think of. More than just field trips, we are provided with opportunities to work with our hands while learning. My favorite includes Manners Conference in Chicago, where we learned with and from other high school and collegiate agriculture students, while others love public figure learning experience in Atlanta. Finally, we have upped our career and technical education programming. We have 4 CTE programs, including our award-winning JROTC, Academy in Computer Science, Audio Visual Production, and my favorite CTE program, Agriculture. Yes, I raise chickens, goats, turkeys, construct fences, and cultivate crops. With these efforts are effective with many young kings, we can also do more to support our peers. As a part of the Ron Brown redesign process, my brothers and I developed an intervention to support students who were not attending school as frequently as they needed to be. We came up with the Brotherhood Drive. First, using attendance data, we identified students that were having a difficult time coming to school. Next, my brothers and I interviewed those young kings and their families, mainly focused on what they perceived their needs to be. Finally, we filled the gaps. This included organizing parent carpools, using staff for transportation sources, and phone trees with young king leaders. I am one of those young kings. My brothers were required to text me by 6:30 a.m. If I didn't receive a text, I would call them or their parents. If a young king and their cohort met weekly attendance goal, we were rewarded with Uber Eats. Our results. Of the students identified across all 4 grade bands, 93% of students not only maintained perfect attendance, but they didn't record a tardy. Our freshman, junior, and senior cohort maintained 100% on-time attendance rate. Ron Brown parents began reaching out to young kings for transportation help. Imagine that, parents
believing in Young Kings just as much as they believe in the Ron Brown staff. Currently, we are reviewing term one data. Term one data to continue the Ron Brown Brotherhood drive. Thank you for your time, and thank you for everyone testifying on this topic today.
Thank you, Mr. Givens. Shaylin Clark.
Good afternoon. My name is Shaylin Clark, and I attend Eastern Senior High School. And I am here today to shed light to the urgent issue of food insecurity in our school communities and how food education can be a powerful tool in addressing this crisis. Food insecurity, defined as the lack of consistent access to enough nutritious food for an active and healthy lifestyle, affects millions of children in the United States. According to the USDA, over 9 million children live in food insecure households. For many, school meals are only reliable source of nutrition. However, challenges such as stigma and what is a source of good nutrition push on, which then translates to grocery shopping with a lack of whole foods and limited awareness of nutritional choices, continuing to hinder students' health and academic performance. Educators and school staff report that food insecure students struggle with concentration and learning, making it difficult for students to focus and retain information, behavior, and emotional well-being, as hunger can lead to increased anxiety, stress, and behavioral challenges in the classroom. Long-term health issues include poor nutritional habits, contributing to obesity, diabetes, and other health conditions that disproportionately impact low-income communities. In fact, food insecurity is most prominent in low-income communities, where kids take the transit to school while stopping for snacks like hot chips or juice, which is quite an inefficient way to break your fast. While expanding school meal programs is crucial, food education is an equally powerful long-term solution, which could fix problems as simple as the one I previously said. Students valuing what they put in their body and how it affects them could be a crucial factor in them choosing fruit over hot fries for breakfast. Teaching students and families about food literacy, how to grow, choose, and prepare nutritious meals can break the cycle of food insecurity found in so many families today. Food and nutrition education should be integrated into science, health, and social studies classes, as they all have great relations to the real life we live. Teaching students how to read nutrition labels, understand portion sizes, and make healthy choices empowers them beyond the classroom. Schools should also offer workshops and resources for parents on meal planning, budgeting for healthy food, and cooking simple, nutritious meals to start these habits with people we look up to. Partnerships with local farms and food banks can improve access to fresh food while strengthening community ties. Addressing food insecurity requires a selfless approach, understanding what those differences from you feel day to day with what they have at hand with them. Expanding access to school meal programs is essential, but equipping students and families with food education ensures long-term sustainable change. We can empower the next generation with knowledge and skills to break free from food insecurity. Investing in food literacy today means a healthier and more resilient community tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Sharon Patrick.
Good afternoon, City Council. Imagine it's May, AP exam day. You have been preparing, or at least you thought you were preparing for this moment all year. You're seated in your assigned testing room, anxiously waiting for the proctor to hand you the exam. You flipped to the first question and your mind goes blank. You do not know the answer. You think, okay, I'll just move on to the next one. But it's the same thing again. You have no idea of how to answer them, not because you didn't care, but because you were never properly taught the material. My name is Sharon Patrick, and I'm a senior at the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I'm a student who values her education and has clear goals for her future. I know a quality education guided by effective and dedicated teachers is essential for achieving those goals. Teachers play a critical role in shaping our academic success, our confidence, and our preparedness for life beyond high school. But when teachers are ineffective, unengaged, or neglectful, it places students in an incredibly difficult and unfair position. I've experienced this firsthand in one of my AP classes. The teacher was unable to complete the curriculum before the exam.
As a result, I walked into that exam room unprepared, not due to my own lack of effort, but because I didn't receive the instructions we were promised and needed. This reflects a systemic issue. That's why I'm here today, to urge the City Council to take meaningful action to ensure that all students have access to qualified and accountable educators. I offer the following recommendations for City Council to address this issue. Stronger teacher evaluations. Should implement more consistent and transparent evaluations processes for teachers, which include feedback from students, parents, and fellow educators, in addition to standardized assessment for student growth. Professional development and training. We should ensure ongoing training for teachers, especially those teaching advanced or specialized courses like AP. Teachers should be up to date with courses, content, and effective teaching strategies. Accountability measures. Schools should have systems in place to intervene early when a teacher is constantly underperforming. This includes providing support and mentorship, but also the option to reassign or replace teachers when necessary for student success. Curriculum completion checks. Requires schools to report on curriculum progress, especially for AP courses, to ensure that all necessary units are being covered well before the exam time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patrick. And Sanae Evans. Nope, I'm sorry. Xavier Van Croft.
Good afternoon. My name is Xavier Vancroft. I'm a Banneker student. Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do, and so do I. One of those rights, though not specifically mentioned yet referenced in the Clean Water Act of 1972 and the Interstate Commerce Clause, is the right to clean water. So with that knowledge, why is it that us DCPS students are an exception to that right? Don't know what I mean? Well, let me paint a picture. In 2021, Benjamin Banneker Academic High School was the newest and most modern public school in DC at the time. Imagine you just got out of a mod period at gym, which is 90 minutes, running around back and forth for 90 minutes, and you feel your tongue against your mouth as if it's sandpaper, so you want water. So you walk out to the closest fountain and try to fill up your jug, but what's this? You find out that the little light that shows the quality of the filter is red, signifying that the fountain is borderline unsafe to drink from and that the filter must be replaced. So you swallow your grievances and walk to another fountain. And you think that the next week it'll be changed, but the week after that, it's still red. So you wait some more time, and 4 years later, that light has never been green once, until recently. The reason this is so appalling is because Banneker is one of the most up-to-date and new schools in the district, along with it being one of the most funded. If us Banneker students have to deal with this, imagine how it may be for other schools who are less funded or outdated. So luckily you don't have to, though. I conducted a survey over 3 weeks and asked 50 people from various schools, including Banneker, School Without Walls, McKinley Tech, Friendship, Cesar Chavez, which is a charter school, Jackson Reed, and Dunbar for their opinions on the overall drinking water quality, and the majority, 78%, people I asked said that they were discontent with the quality of their water. 20 people said they would rather wait till they got home to drink water, even if they were thirsty. One student even saying they got sick after drinking the fountain. During the survey, I also learned that the company that owns and produces these water fountains are the only ones with the ability to change the filters, and thus filtration changes would be abnormally slow. So this shouldn't be the norm, especially for the capital of the strongest and one of the most wealthy nations in the world objectively. And now it's not directly cheap. We should still put more funding into DC schools, especially their facilities, especially the ones that are in lower income areas like Ward 7 or 8, as they get the harsher end of this issues. If DCPS schools had more money alone, we would not be having this issue. Not only would this better the lives of the children, but it would also better the lives with everyone within the district. It would also create more trust with the students to their school, within the students to their schools and places of education or recreation. So with all that being said, clean water is a right, and it shouldn't be debated that this is something that needs to be done for not just the children now, but the children decades from now. Now is our time to act, and the window is waning. With Trump and Elon's butchering and shearing of federal departments via DOGE, and Trump's increasingly aggressive threats to the Board of Education, along with other shutdowns and firings of many departments and policies that benefit middle to lower class, it just shows that we must act on this matter quickly before we don't have the chance to focus on the well-being of not just DCPS, but all students within the DMV.
Thank you, Mr. Vancroft. Thank you, each of you, for your testimony. Let me just say that every council member has the same frustration about the facilities. There shouldn't be that there's only the drinking fountains that only one company can change the filter. That just shouldn't be. But also, I mean, you testified to how it just sends a very poor signal to students when the facilities are not maintained. Thank you for that. To Ms. Patrick, what are you majoring in? Maybe that's the wrong way to put it. What art specialty are you at Ellington?
I'm in the film and writing department.
Okay. My daughter went to Ellington, that's why I asked.
Mm.
Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you. Thanks to this panel of witnesses. I wanted to ask a question about the sort of the AP class and the curriculum. Was it your teacher was moving too slow, or how is it? I mean, I understand if it were a history class, for instance, I can understand how they may not have covered all of the necessary material for, say, like the AP US history exam. But I'm just curious, was there something that occurred during the school year that caused for you guys not to get through so much of the material?
No, it like pretty much because I took, okay, coming from my point of view, I took AP US history the same time I took AP psychology, and with AP US history we were able to get through the units way quicker than AP psychology. Like by May the 5th, I believe, we had covered only 6 units, and there's 9 units in the AP psychology.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and there wasn't like a major event that happened that could have like deterred or prevented the teacher from covering all 9 units. It's just like the teacher was not great at teaching, and like it did not feel like a AP class.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, that speaks to something completely different. And I think a couple of years ago, we did provide funding for teachers who were teaching AP classes to be able to attend these summer seminars that are hosted by the College Board to talk about how do you effectively manage an advanced placement level class versus a regular, US history course or psychology course. Okay, so that's helpful to know. As the chairman said, we've raised lots of issues around the facility issues. It's very disappointing to hear that this water fountain has had these high lead levels for the past 4 years, but you said that it's been fixed, or the light has gone off, or?
So quite recently, because people like all around my school have been making a stink about that one fountain, it's finally been changed.
Okay.
It's been green. I don't know for how long it'll be staying green, but it is just recently changed. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, all of these fountains have, your filter runs out after a certain period of months. I think like 6 months it might be. And so we should just have a schedule that exists where every 6 months we're checking the filters and changing them. So we don't have situations like this where we go for years, or that students have to like do these sort of collective actions to kind of raise that info. Okay, I'm going really fast because we only get 3 minutes. I thought your testimony was excellent about the program that you guys have over at Ron Brown in terms of attendance and truancy issues. And it's great that you all have this accountability amongst each other around, like you said, text at 6:30. Okay. And I think the outcomes are great, and it would be great to see more school communities do that. And I also thought your testimony was very well taken around healthier school lunch options in schools. But I'm over my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Henderson. Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Javante. I echo those sentiments. I really appreciated your testimony. I'm going to open it up to all of you. As truancy is an issue that is plaguing the district, what would be one thing you would say is a barrier for young people showing up to school? I'll start with Javante, and then maybe we can work our way down the path.
I'll say the main problem for young people is that they don't really have supportive households. Mostly sometimes it's that the parent doesn't care, and that leads the student to feel like, so since my parents don't care, then I don't have to care about my own well-being and my academic life in school. That is the main thing that I've seen from my peers. But it varies. It depends on the person, depends on the case, but from what I've seen, that's the main thing for me.
Okay, thank you.
Mostly for me, I feel like at my school, I could really only speak for full IB students, since like that's kind of just the people I hang out with. But most of the time, I feel like we find ourselves staying home to complete more work than we would at school. In a sense that we like cover more material at home and kind of like just get over our work faster, kind of similar to Sharon's topic on how we like kind of need to push ourselves to learn the curriculum faster and better just to cover ourselves during lessons.
With me, I'd say mental health is a big thing at my schools because I go to an art school, so we have to take academics, duh, and then we have the arts. So like that's like divided into two sections. So for example, we start school at 8:30. The academics ends at about 2:00, 1:55, and then we have to stay until 5:00 for the arts. So depending with what department you're in, you might find yourself staying in school until like 7:00. So it's a lot of work, a lot of dedication, both for the arts and academics. So most of the time, students find themselves like very overwhelmed, like just like how Shaylin was saying. So it's just staying at home sometimes feels like a better option for completing schoolwork and just like, taking a break from like all, because it's challenging. Yeah.
Thank you.
A big thing as to the reason why there's a lot of truancy within my school that I've seen is that a lot of kids don't have good relationships with teachers. And that's not to say it's anyone's fault, but rather there's the feeling that I personally felt when I was a sophomore and a freshman in Banneker, that I just came to school, the teachers automatically didn't really care about our success, but rather just getting a paycheck. And depending on how good we did in the class was how much they got paid, which kind of is a little true, but it was also the fact that I just didn't think anybody really cared. So because of that, I believe that a lot of kids do not show up with the pure fact, no one cares at me at school. Why should I go if no one's really going to care and care about my success in the future?
Thank you all for your testimony.
Thank you, Councilmember. Yes, thank you all for your testimony. And please, if you didn't give us a copy of your statement, I don't think any of you did, feel free to provide a copy. Thank you. Let me go to the next group. Kennedy Richmond. Sine or Sana Evans? Where? Nevaeh or Neve Williams, Youth Leader, Black Swan Academy. Alea Harris. I think some of you came in after I started the hearing, so you have 3 minutes. Clocks everywhere, so you can see the time. And with that, and I'm also not asking that many questions just because there's so many witnesses. Ms. Kennedy Richmond?
Good afternoon, DC Council members. Have you ever felt like decisions are being made that largely affect you, but you have no say in them? I know I have, and it's frustrating when you're directly impacted by something and you're told your voice is heard when it's really barely considered. My name is Kennedy Richmond, and I am a junior at Benjamin Banneker Academy High School. The decisions made in schools affect our daily lives, from the events we experience to the things we learn. Despite students being impacted the most, we are the main ones left out of the conversation. Today, I want to address a critical issue in some schools, the lack of student involvement in school decision-making and why it's so important for us students to have a seat at the table. I'll be discussing how decisions are made without student input using personal experiences to show the impact on students like myself. At my school, I've noticed a recurring issue where students don't get much say when it comes to school decisions such as assemblies or school events. Every time a student comes up with a new idea for an assembly or a fun event for things like Spirit Week that aren't the exact same things as last year, the ideas always seem to be shot down almost immediately by administrators for being too fun or unrealistic. But what's even more frustrating is that there's no clear process for us to push back or even understand why our ideas are rejected. In the end, students like me feel like decisions are always made without any real input from students. who are the main ones affected, resulting in us students feeling disconnected and uninterested about school. To solve this, students should create more avenues for student feedback, whether it's through regular surveys, town hall meetings, or even an open forum where administrators explain their decisions and feedback. Additionally, implementation of a student-led planning committee or advisory board separate from student government, in which schools ensure the committee and its perspectives are considered in the final decision. Administrators also must truly understand how important they are in ensuring students are heard and taking the meaningful steps to act on their feedback. Administrators, I'm not just pointing at a problem, but I'm offering an easy solution. When students are parts of the process, they're more likely to feel more valued and be more engaged, ultimately showing they care for school, which benefits everyone. In the end, schools are meant to serve students, and we should have a say in the decisions that shape our educational experiences. Our voices matter, and it's time for schools to listen. Let's push for real student involvement. After all, we are the ones who deal with the outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richmond. Sanaa Evans?
Yes. Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the Committee of the Whole. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you all today. My name is Sanaa Evans. I'm 16 and I live in Ward 7. I'm currently in 11th grade and attend Washington Latin Public Charter School. At school, I'm the leader of the Red Hearts Community Service Club and a student ambassador. Upon graduation, I plan to attend college and study nursing to become a pediatric psychiatric nurse practitioner. This year, I decided to join the Young Women's Project as a mental health leader because of my interest in mental health. Today, I'm testifying before you all to talk about mental health support in schools. This issue is particularly important to me because out of most people, teens go through a great deal of stress during this time in their lives. A lot of my peers deal with stress in a variety of areas, such as academic, social, or even anxiety-related stress. Because of these issues, it is very important to me to be able to advocate for myself and other teens who are going through some of the same things. During the Young Women's Project work sessions, we do exercises around sharing and presenting on different topics, such as trauma, stress, and ways to calm your stress. Another thing we do is send out messages on a topic we learned about. We send them to a group chat every week, to a group chat we make every week. We do this to educate peers around us on things we learned, to make sure they know about mental health related topics. We also do peer presentations. These presentations can be shared in school or club, even during lunch or class. We create these presentations specifically on mental health because some of these topics are not taught in schools. All of the presentations and projects that we do in our program are very important, especially to teens, because some teens our age don't know that they're struggling with a mental health issue until these presentations and messages are received. Sometimes students would rather hear this type of information from students their own age rather than a teacher. They're more comfortable and realize that other people their age are going through the same thing. Results from our recent survey show that there are clearly not enough mental health support within schools. Before reaching the high school level, no one warned me that high school could ever be so stressful. Clearly, other students agree based on the survey. When asked the question, how often do you worry about the outcome of our grades? 30% of students said always, 27% said often, and 25% said sometimes. That means 82% said that they are always, often, or sometimes worried about their grades. That number should never be that high. When students were asked about their sleeping pattern this month, 40% said falling asleep and staying asleep was challenging. However, 22% said that their sleep schedule was chaotic. Staying up late to do schoolwork, which only results in getting 6 hours or less of sleep, is unhealthy. I can thankfully say that I'm one of those people. I usually stay up till 11 or 12, sometimes doing homework, and then I have to wake up at 6 o'clock to get to school in the morning. In the morning, I'm always very tired. It makes me tired at the end of the school day, making it an endless cycle that so many high school students are stuck in. There are so many ways this problem can be solved, but today I would just name one. Students should have more time during the day to finish their homework, whether it's near the end of the day or a study hall, which not all students have access to. This will allow students to spend less time rushing through their homework at 11 p.m. because they got home late from sports and more time doing what they need to get done. So by the end of the day, the student gets home and they can eat dinner, shower, and go to bed at a decent time. One positive classroom strategy that schools use is that my math teacher uses. We take notes during the first part of the class, and then after, we go straight to our homework.
Ms. Evans,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to have to cut you off because you're over your time.
That's fine. Thank you.
But we do have your statement, so thank you.
Thank you.
Neve Williams?
Dear council members, my name is Neve Williams. I am a high school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend Anacostia High School. I'm in the 9th grade and I live in Ward 7. Thank you for your time. today. I'm here to talk to you about housing and why it's important. I feel like everyone should have a safe place to lay their head at night, and I have dealt with homelessness firsthand, so I feel like I can relate. While going through this, DCPS did not help me whatsoever. Me and my siblings almost got taken away from our mom because we missed so many days of school because we didn't have clean clothes or a way to school. Kids facing housing problems often miss school because their basic needs aren't met. They might be embarrassed to come to school without clean clothes or enough food. Moving around makes it hard to get to school, and stress can make it hard to focus. Schools can help by offering food, clothes, and transportation, along with emotional and academic support. Understanding their situation and being flexible with attendance also makes a big difference. Another way my school could have helped me is by providing clean clothes for children in need. This should always be a priority, but in discretion so kids won't be embarrassed and lose their dignity. Also, transportation vans for kids is a better alternative to public transportation in certain circumstances, primarily when flexibility, convenience, privacy, and accessibility are prioritized over the cost of environmental impact. Per my previous comments about importance of housing stability for youth statement, I am asking council to increase funding for permanent housing vouchers. If I had these tools growing up, my upbringing would have been so much better. Thank you for hearing my testimony today.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. And Alea Harris?
Good afternoon. My name is Alea Harris, and I am a high school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend Anacostia High School, and I am in the 9th grade. I live in Ward 7. Thank you for your time. Today, I am here to talk about mental health based on violence and why it's important to focus more on the mental health situation caused by violence. I feel like the violence around the DC area has caused many teens trauma, PTSD, and suicidal attempts. Violence has made my work more difficult by stripping me from my right to learn. Violence does this by popping up in classrooms, fights, arguments, and getting things thrown at one another. Anacostia High School supports my mental health by simply feeling like a home. They enact this by having many mother figures. They make it feel safe to come to them about anything. Anacostia has many staff members that treat you like a daughter or a son and make it comfortable to come and talk to them. Having someone to talk to helps me in many more ways than I could explain. Many times I might come to school feeling sad or lousy, and my mother figures can help me feel so much better just by giving me a simple hug. I think that everyone deserves a mother figure, and I think that every school should hire a counselor that takes the time out of their day just to simply give a conversation with students about their mental state, amongst other things. Thank you for hearing my testimony.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Ms. Williams, I didn't get what school you're at. So you're both at Anacostia. Anacostia is doing some programming with UDC. Are you involved with that at all? And do you like it? Great, great. That's new for UDC, and I think it's good they're making that connection. Councilmember Parker, do you have any questions?
Yes. One, I want to say thank you all for sharing your testimony. Nevaeh Williams, I wanted to follow up on some of your recommendations as you talked about attendance and truancy. Two things. You highlighted that schools should provide food, clothing, support to young people and do this in a discreet way. I would love if you could elaborate. What might that look like so that we don't embarrass the young person, but at the same time extend help to them?
Like if the teachers see that a student is like sad or unhappy or having a crease, if they have a lot of absences, the teacher could come up to them and talk to them one-on-one, like after class or before class, and just like ask them about it. And if they need help, they can just help them.
Do you think truancy is an issue at your high school, Anacostia?
Yes, but we've been getting better at it.
And do you think a lack of housing and food and clean clothes is a barrier to students showing up to school there?
Yeah.
Okay. And then last question, you talked about the transportation vans might be a better resource than Metro. Why do you think that?
Because like many youth experience traumatizing situations on Metro. like even on the bus, waiting for the bus, or just
Mm.
like around.
So it's out of a safety concern, you would say?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for your testimony.
Thank you, Councilmember Parker. You're all excused. Thank you very much. Israel Jefferson? Is there Israel Jefferson here? Jaden Buckner? Is Jaden Buckner here? Marcus Williams? Marcus Williams? You are? That's excellent. LaGeorgia Callahan? You are Miss Callahan? Sebastian Frederick? Sebastian Frederick here? Jermaine Williams? Sinai Miles? Sinai Miles? Are you Miss Miles? Mr. Williams, you're first. Microphone. Excellent. You're on.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Marcus Williams. I'm a senior at Anacostia High School and the youth organizer at the Black Swan Academy. Today, I'll be talking to you about the lack of safe, affordable housing in DC. Thank you for listening to me today. This issue is important to me because it has been a huge struggle within my life. We have been living in the same spot for over 10 years, and the apartment we live in has begun to crumble, mold on walls, cracked floors, broken appliances, and so much more. It has gotten to the point where my mental health is being impacted. Imagine living in a place like this. I'm embarrassed to invite friends over. I don't feel comfortable in my own home, and I have begun to develop insecurity surrounding my living situation. It's insufferable, and it feels like there isn't anything that we can do about it. I find myself feeling depressed, helpless, and desperate for a way out. Housing vouchers are supposed to make homes more accessible to families like mine. However, it seems to be more of a barrier rather than a resource. We have tried for years to find alternative housing, and as far as I know, we have not had any help from DC government. We have tried to make matters into our own hands by researching houses that meet our needs and joining informational sessions, but our efforts has been unsuccessful. The options that we have refused to accept our voucher, and the information shared at these virtual sessions is not actually helpful. Recently, I got some good news. We should be moving soon. I'm excited about the possibility of moving, but I'm a bit wary of the outcome. I try my best to stay optimistic. I play my video games. I show up to programs that will put me in a position to succeed, but it doesn't always feel like it's enough. 10 years is a long time, and I'm a bit exhausted. I've tried to get support from trusted adults at my school, but I haven't been able to see a counselor since 9th grade. When I did have a counselor, having someone to talk to made me feel seen and heard, but that option is no longer available to me. The counselor that I had has left the school, and there are not enough counselors to go around. They're always busy and don't seem to have time for a one-on-one conversation. The reality is that people need housing in order to live a healthy life. They need working appliances, warmth, comfort, safety, and security. Without these things, our mental health will suffer. Poor mental health without the proper support services lead to violence, depression, and a decrease in overall quality of life. I believe no one should have to go through the same things that me and my family are going through. Council, as the people who hold the power, you all can put laws in place to ensure that housing is safe, clean, and affordable. You all have the power to ensure that schools are equipped to support people suffering from housing instability by giving them mental health support and emergency resources accessible for us to use. In fact, you have the responsibility to do so. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. LaGeorgia Callahan?
Dear Council Member, my name is LaGeorgia Callahan. I am a youth organizer with Black Swan Academy. I attend Anacostia High School and I am in 11th grade. Thank you for your time. Today I'm here to talk about youth resources and why it's important. 1, support schools in helping students develop essential skills, gain work experience, and access relevant training and education opportunities. 2, help schools promote more paid work experiences during high school. A significant lack of youth resources exists in the United States, particularly for those living in poverty, where limited access to quality education, healthcare, mental health support, and stable housing can hinder youth development. With key facts including high poverty rates among youth, limited educational opportunities, inadequate mental health support, homelessness among youth, and lack of job training and opportunities. My personal experience with youth resources is similar to one of the previous issues I just gave. The issue I struggle with the most is the lack of job training and opportunities. I've been trying to find a job to apply for months. After I finished my basketball season, I had nothing to do, so I decided why not get a job and work after school. Searching for a job has been hard. I've applied to fast food restaurants, grocery stores, shoe stores, and more. The biggest issue is that they never get back to me. Every store I apply to, I haven't got any message back besides from Target. I feel like the real issue is that stores in low poverty areas do not want to hire anybody because not only are they not getting enough money to keep the stores open, but also they probably don't want to bring new people into stores. As I mentioned, I attend Anacostia High School, and my school offers many programs like Urban Alliance, College Success Foundation, and Advanced Intern Placement. My school has invited and provided the students a chance at a couple of internships, helping us build our resumes in order to have a foundation for my experience. My school should be helping with this process because they don't want to send their students off with no experience, leaving the opportunity for failure, leading to them being unequipped with certain skills that may maintain their career success. The school should be doing this because it improves successful training for real-world experiences, allowing kids who always get denied at applying for jobs a chance for work experience, which may send many youth into the world equipped with the tools of managing a job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Callahan. You said you went to Anacostia. You go to Anacostia?
Yes.
And Mr. Williams, I forgot to ask you. You go to
Yes, sir.
Anacostia?
Yes.
Sounds like you wouldn't go to any other school.
You're right.
That's good. Jermaine Williams.
Hello, council members. My name is Jermaine Williams, and I am a youth organizer at Black Swan Academy. I'm in the 12th grade, and I go to Anacostia High School. I also live in Ward 8. The issue that I'm talking about today is youth resources. I want there to be more youth recreation centers for children and adults in their communities, and for there to be more therapists for children in schools. I myself has witnessed what happens when you're not given the right resources you need. My mom is struggling with her mental health. When she's triggered, she becomes extremely paranoid, and it feels like she has a double persona where she thinks everyone is her enemy. I know that she will never hurt me, but I'm worried for her ability to live a full life. At times, it gets to a point where I have to call the police because there's no other options for a nonviolent emergency. Usually the police respond by taking her to a psych ward. I'm not sure what sort of treatment she gets while she's there, but she's usually back within a week and the cycle continues. I cannot pinpoint exactly when my mom's mental health issue began, but I can say that it's gotten worse by the day. I really think a proper diagnosis and treatment plan can change all of our lives for the better. I love my family, but it's gotten to a point where I am more than ready to move out and live on my own. However, my opportunities to create a life that I envision for myself are limited. Due to my mom's mental health issues, I have to take a more dominant role in my home, leaving with my sister. Ooh, hold on. I've taken a more dominant role in my home, leaving me with no time or energy for school and my personal development. I have a little sister, and oftentimes I end up having to sacrifice my own development to ensure that she can get to and from school safely. There are adults in my school that I trust, but I would love for there to be more consistent support system available at my school. As far as I know, there's only one social worker at our school. I believe we have a counselor for each grade, but they play more of an advisor role. I would love for there to be someone at our school to help me cope with my own emotions and how I respond to difficult situations. In general, I want there to be a more effective way for those with mental health issues to get the help that they need. I know that there are people here who who have known someone with mental health issues and has acted out of character at least once. Maybe even you guys have seen or struggled with their own mental health issues. This is an issue that needs to be solved because this is only going to get worse. I want to see change in how other people with mental health issues are treated and the others was treated so that others don't have to go through what I'm going through now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, and thank you for being willing to share. Sine Miles?
My name is Sanai. I am a high school youth leader with Black Swan Academy, and I attend Benjamin Banneker Academic High School. I am in the 10th grade. I live in Ward 5, and thank you for your time. Today, I'm here to talk about violence and youth resources and why it's important to me. Violence is very prevalent and harmful to the community. It's devastating to see it progress for the worse rather than the better. There should be more jobs and paying programs for youth implemented into the community to keep youth occupied. Studies have shown that kids who see or go through violence often feel more mentally troubled and or unstable. They're likely to abuse drugs and alcohol. Personally, I've been around many shootings against my will. Sometimes I left later than I did or earlier than I was supposed to. Furthermore, I have lost people to gun violence. I'm asking you to create jobs or paid programs for youth so they can stay out of trouble and stay away from places they don't belong. Adding these jobs can also double as providing resources for the youth in need. Having an income can also help people support themselves, their family, or even save for the future. Schools should make it a priority to update every student on upcoming future opportunities such as scholarship applications, college trips, paid internships, paid one-time programs, events, etc. This is something that should be available to all DCPS kids, applicable, and something that my school does an okay job of doing. Most schools don't provide this for their students, and the ones interested have to research for themselves. Doing personal online research is often unhelpful, and the information needed is hard to find. For schools to update their students directly, it will be easier for students in search of resources and/or opportunities. Furthermore, jobs should be provided and well known to all DCPS kids around the district.
Thank you, Ms. Miles. Councilmember Parker, do you have any questions?
No questions for this panel, but I do recognize that you shared some very sensitive information. I appreciate you lifting your voice up and sharing. Thank you all.
Thank you, each of you. So you all are excused. Michaela Brown. Is Michaela Brown here? Kayla Ford. Is Kayla Ford here? Naomi Tony. You're Miss Tony. Promise Paraway. Promise Paraway here. Hayden Morgan. She's not admitted yet. Hayden Morgan. Avani Patel. Sia Rosalia Amadou or Amadou. Mikaya Pinero. Kai Johnson. Addison Blosser.
Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the DC Committee of the Whole.
Belen Gonzalez. Is Belen Gonzalez here? Megan Godoy or Godoy? Is that you? Yes, please come forward. One of you is Miss Tony. Who are you? Got it. All right, Miss Tony, you're up first. And good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, council members. Hello, my name is Naomi Tony. I'm a high school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend Eastern High School and I am in the 9th grade. Oh, and I live in Ward 8. Thank you for your time. Today, I'm here to talk about violence and mental health support. It is important to me that youth who struggle with violence have the proper mental health support. Here's my personal experience with violence. In February 2023, I had experienced sexual assault. I was 12. And in the same week it happened, I had lost my friend to gun violence. The day after that, I also lost my stepfather to violence as well. All of this made it very hard for me to go to school, complete daily tasks, and affected my 8th grade year tremendously. I am an honor student and I have been an honor student since 6th grade. However, this affected me a lot. My grades started dropping. I needed someone to talk to, but I was never heard by anyone. Instead, I was put on medication that was not beneficial for me whatsoever. Many of my peers also struggled with violence, sharing experiences similar to mine. Despite the fact that there are many acts put into place to support students' mental health, many of my peers feel that they lack these resources. Creamer Middle School offered me a lot of support in the 8th grade and helping me by providing a room for students who needed a safe space. Within this room, you would find the school's counselors and social workers. I was connected to 2 therapists, Miss Megan and Miss Main, and they helped me get through the year, getting me back on track for high school. When I came to Eastern, I had nowhere to go, and if there was a place I could have gone for support, I was unaware of that space. One day, while at school, I had an anxiety attack. And when I asked my counselor for somewhere I can go to regain my composure and attend class for the day, I was dismissed. It's been difficult for me to get access to help regarding my mental health since middle school. A student's mental health plays a crucial role in one's life. It directly impacts their ability to learn. I would like to see more access to mental health support, specifically in high schools, because they are larger for youth. This could look like having safe spaces or wellness rooms and peer support. I hope that action will be taken to ensure that no student should have to go through what I have gone through and get the support they need. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tony. And those events can be really, really tough. So thank you for sharing that. Ms. Morgan.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Hayden Morgan. I'm a Ward 3 DC resident. I'm a sophomore at Benjamin Banneker Academic High School. I've been a peer educator with the Young Ones Project since July 2024. The Young Ones Project is an organization that builds the leadership of youth to solve community problems. I'm testifying today to share the work that I've been doing as a peer health educator and to encourage you to help us in the effort to support sexual health education, not only in 9th grade, but through the 4 years of high school. For many young people, a lack of comprehensive sexual health education can lead to confusion, misinformation, and feelings of isolation. That's why programs like the Young Health Educator Program are so valuable. As a peer educator, I found it incredibly rewarding to help others understand these vital topics, fostering a sense of community and breaking down the stigma around sexual health. However, accessing sexual health resources at school can sometimes be challenging, whether due to limited availability or lack of openness around the topic. The absence of this education has not only affected me personally, but also many of my friends who may not have had access to reliable information or felt comfortable seeking help. As a sexual health advocate, I'm working to change that by continuing to educate my peers, share resources, and create spaces where everyone feels empowered to learn and talk openly about their health. By providing accurate information and resources, I have helped increase awareness about sexual health issues among students. This knowledge empowers them to make informed decisions and practice safe behaviors. My school is doing a poor job of responding to the need for sexual health education and condom distribution. Our school has only implemented somewhat comprehensive sexual health education programs for freshmen, and only for 1 semester, leaving students with limited knowledge on important topics. Many teachers avoid discussing sexual health topics either due to discomfort or their religion, leaving students to seek information elsewhere. Existing programs lack sufficient resources and trained personnel to effectively address students' needs. According to recent data, 1 in 4 sexually active teens contract an STI each year, and the teen pregnancy rate remains alarmingly high. Surveys reveal that over 60% of students feel they lack adequate education and resources to make informed decisions about their sexual health. Students face increased health risks due to a lack of education and resources, including increased health risks due to lack of education and resources, including higher rates of STIs and unplanned pregnancies. To address the lack of comprehensive sexual health education and inconsistent condom distribution in schools, we propose implementing a mandatory evidence-based curriculum and regular condom distribution points. This solution involves training teachers, establishing after-school programs, and collaborating with local health organizations. By working together with dedicated educators, health professionals, and community organizations, we can ensure that high school students are equipped with the knowledge and resources they need to make informed decisions about their sexual health, ultimately fostering a healthier and more informed generation. Thank you for your time, and I hope you take these recommendations into consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. I think what I'm going to do is take the in-person folks and then the virtual folks. Addison Blosser.
Good evening, members of the committee. My name is Addison Blosser, and I'm a freshman from Jackson Reed. I have been working for the Young Women's Project since the beginning of the school year, and I'm learning the ropes. YWP builds leadership of youth to solve community problems, including mental health in school. We appreciate the support you give your program and hope you will continue so we can help struggling youths. Not only have I noticed a lack of resources, but I have also been hearing of people not wanting to use the few resources we do have due to a fear of exposing privacy. This issue is important to me because many people fear the resources they actually need, and I have been there many times myself. Not only are they unable to find the courage to talk to their counselors, but additionally strain relationships with friends over their issues because they have no other ways to vent. On one occasion, when I was giving some students some surveys on their mental health, they all looked at me with concerned faces and asked me if the results were connected to their names, all because of the lack of privacy often associated with mental health in schools. Schools, especially public schools, mention the counselors once or twice in an assembly per year. Many are discouraged from using them as kids and teens tend to warn each other against it. Teachers almost never bring up the issues other than asking how the student is feeling in superficial comments. From what I have seen so far, the counselors just wait for students to talk to them and do nothing like interviewing students or surveying them for information on their daily struggles. In fact, schools do so little about mental health that 71% of survey respondents said that they received 1 hour or less of mental health instruction. And back to my previous issue about privacy and people not wanting to use what resources they do have, when students are asked who they would reach out to if they were experiencing suicidal thoughts, 38% of students said they would tell a friend, 21.1% said a parent, and 29.3% said no one, while only 7.8% said they would talk to a school therapist or psychiatrist. For all the money we spend on therapists, they barely have any use. For a possible solution, when students were asked whether they would be interested in having an art therapy class to help de-stress, 41.6% said they were very interested and 35% said they were somewhat interested. This is a large amount in comparison to the 23.3% who said they were not interested. Due to the high rate of people who said they would approve of this, I believe we should incorporate it as a club or an after-school activity in some schools to see how it fares. This can help students relieve stress and anxiety through something calming and even think things through with a clear head. Of course, if we'd like to try this, we would need funding you would all supply, and I could say it with confidence that this would be a worthwhile endeavor for the sake of my fellow youths. Thank you for your time and consideration of my views. I hope this was of use to you all.
Thank you, Ms. Blosser. Belen Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, esteemed committee members. My name is Belen Gonzalez, a senior at Washington Latin Public Charter School in Northwest DC. Unlike many of my peers who had been at Latin since middle school, I joined Latin at the beginning of 9th grade. I had come from a much larger middle school, and I was scared that I wouldn't be able to find my people. That was the exact opposite of what happened. Even before the school year started, I was enrolled at Latin's summer bridge program for 9th graders that were new to the school. In this weeks-long intentional program, I was able to learn about Latin's values of seeking the conversation, trusting courageously, serving the common good, and falling in love with enduring ideas. At every step in your journey at Latin, these values are ingrained in us and they shape us to be leaders in our own communities. Latin does a phenomenal job of encouraging a close community. Throughout my 4 years at Latin, there have been endless upper school assemblies, pep rallies, plays, and field trips. Every community event is a chance to learn about a new side of Latin that you previously did not know about. Most special to me is our senior 4-H trip, where we all cried together and shared fond memories and our hopes for graduation. If a student at Latin feels stuck with what to do, they do not have to struggle for long because Latin has so many programs to uplift its students, and our daily bulletin never runs out of clubs to join and sports to try out in. As a senior now, I feel my class coming together more than ever with the support of my teachers. The amazing teachers at Washington Latin are what really makes the school shine. Our teachers make sure no student slips through the cracks. When I was struggling with homework in the 10th grade, I never felt like I couldn't ask for help. Latin has a unique tutorial system that functions like office hours, where students can study and get help from teachers any day after school. I took advantage of that and went to tutorial every day because I knew my teachers were always there to answer my questions. Latin has made me more outgoing and a strong leader in my community, and I truly think it's because of its vibrant community and endless support from teachers that I'm sorry, and I truly think it's because of its vibrant community and endless support from teachers. It's only because of Latin that I'm up here in front of you all today to share my love for my wonderful school. I hope what I share today encourages the board to continue funding and supporting public education, because that's what shapes the next generation of leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. We have several witnesses in this group that are virtual. Promise Paraway.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Promise Paraway, and I'm the 11th grade ambassador for Nights Minds Matter, which is a mental health club at Frank W. Blue High School. I'm here with you all today to bring awareness to the funding cuts within the Department of Behavioral Health school-based behavioral health program. I would like to ask that mental health services be funded and not cut from this year's upcoming budget. A mental health club seems minuscule to many, but for a lot of people, this club is one of the most important aspects of school. A lot of adults nowadays see mental health as something imaginary, but it's a very real issue for many students in the building. And as a mental health ambassador for my grade, I've heard of those dealing with issues in the building, at home, and even some who contemplate suicide. These people need a space to relax, breathe, and connect with others. And that's a space that our club provides. The club has brought liveliness to the school and helped break down the mental health stigma. We exercise skills like teamwork, problem solving, event planning, and time management, which are skills that we need to hone as youth to become contributors to society in a lifelong career. Beyond that, it helps with community service hours by hosting events members can put together. It's also valuable for social development, and it brings a sense of community. We hold school-wide events at least once a month. An example of that being our We Belong Week, where we hosted activities like speed friending, friendship bracelets, making posters, paint and sip, and with over 90 people at each event, our students enjoy what we're doing. The budget cut is going to take that away from a lot of people. Our club sponsors already pay out of pocket for food, materials, gifts. If we take the little bit of funding that we do get, there's going to be a lot of times when we won't have the resources we need to host large-scale events anymore. 90% of school psychologists already feel burnt out due to their profession, and we have one as our sponsor. So it's going to be more and more stressful to run the club the way we want to, which shouldn't be the way that it is for something that's supposed to be for the good of the school. I myself have issues with mental health, both hereditary and due to personal situations, and I've had many social workers to guide me through these rough times that are still happening to this day. I would not be here on this planet speaking to you all right now if it weren't for the providers who gave me the outlet to talk to someone who knows what to do. And I'm not the only one going through something. We need that budget to keep as many social workers in the building as possible so that we can help as many people as possible. Social workers are already in short supply in the US. And the District of Columbia had an adjusted suicide rate of 6.1 in 2022. So with a lack of mental health resources, that number is sure to climb higher in the 2024-2025 school year. And this budget cut isn't just going to take away from some small club. It might very well be a case of life and death for these students and teenagers who are going through things. I hope that you all take away just how helpful and necessary these services are for students. And with the hard times upon us, we might need them more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Paraway. Sia Rosalia Amadou.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Henderson and members of the Committee on Health. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Sia Rosalia Amadou, and I'm a Ward 2 DC resident. I'm a junior at Benjamin Banneker High School. I wish to attend college in the fall of 2026 next year and aspire to work in healthcare, most likely in maternal health. I've been a peer educator with the Young Women's Project since September 2024. The Young Women's Project is an organization that builds the leadership of youth to solve community problems such as the lack of education on mental and sexual health. We really appreciate your support for this program. As a sexual health advocate, I've learned about the topics of pregnancy prevention, gender and sexuality, anatomy, menstruation, contraception, condom distribution, and STIs and HIV, toxic versus healthy relationships, and much more. As a sexual health peer educator, I enjoy being able to be comfortable with the topic of sexual health and having the ability to provide my peers with answers about their own bodies and how to be sexually responsible young adults. So far, I've passed out over 100 condoms to youth in the DC area, as well as I send weekly informational messages based on sexual health topics to a group of around 10 DC high schoolers. My school does not provide any real sexual health education to its students. I don't think my school is comfortable with mass condom distribution because it encourages students to be thinking about sex and not academics. My school strictly promotes college and SAT prep and early career internship opportunities, which are all great things, but resources for high schoolers to be able to understand their changing bodies and make safe sex choices is necessary for this very stage of their lives. Having a strong social life is just as important as being academically exceptional. I've spoken with a couple of counselors and teachers at my school on sexual health peer education and survey distribution, and some, but not all, have been open to it. That is not a bad start. However, DC is the #1 state in the nation with the highest STD and HIV rates. The CDC writes that people between the ages of 15 and 24 have the most cases of STDs. This has to change. DC is a small city and its youth will remain interconnected. Youth will keep acting with no helpful information and resources, and these issues will only grow and grow if not taken seriously and acted upon. I am asking for support to implement mandatory sexual health courses in DCPS and charter high schools for at least 2 semesters in that 4 years of high school. The curriculum should cover all the topics we go over at YWP and include similar fieldwork activities that we participate in YWP, such as learning about menstruation and anatomy. Support to expand the mission of this organization to youth citywide. Thank you for your time and I really hope you take these recommendations into consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Amadou. Micaiah Pinero.
Yes, okay.
Please proceed.
Okay. Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my testimony today. My name is Micaiah Pinero, a Ward 4 resident in Washington, D.C. I'm a 16-year-old sophomore at Benjamin Banneker High School. I'm here today as a youth advocate with YWP because I believe too many young people lack the necessary knowledge about sexual health. Without proper education, many teens struggle with feelings of shame and regret when faced with the consequences of uninformed decisions. Instead, they should be empowered with accurate information to make responsible choices about their sexual health. We must address these challenges to ensure young people have the resources and support they need to make confident decisions about their well-being. The Youth Health Educator Program has provided me with a safe and supportive space to learn reliable sexual health information while building meaningful relationships with others who share my passion. Through YHEP, I can take what I've learned and share with my peers, helping to fill the gaps left by inadequate sexual health education. In our community, many people suffer from STIs, HIV, emotional distress due to sexual relationships, and widespread misconceptions about sex, all because these topics are not properly taught or openly discussed. During my time as an advocate, I have distributed over 250 condoms, recommended clinics to teens who felt lost and alone, and engaged in deep and educational conversations with peers. Benjamin Banneker Academic High School has done little to reinforce the importance of sexual health education. While the school remains committed to preparing students academically for college, it neglects the equally important aspect of student well-being. 45.8% of high school students do not use condoms or dental dams, either due to lack of access or because these resources are not widely promoted. Despite the clear need, condom distribution in schools remains inadequate
leaving YWP to take the lead by partnering with teachers and administrators to provide free condoms. But shouldn't this be the responsibility of teachers and administrators, the Department of Health and School Board as well? Schools emphasize academics and high achievements, but they must also prioritize student health. Integrating comprehensive sexual health education and accessible resources into school curriculums can help prevent STIs, HIV, unplanned pregnancies, and unhealthy relationships. We urge the DC Council to support sexual health education and expand condom distribution in high schools to reach more students who are uninformed about their options. This initiative will promote safer sex practices, reduce infections and diseases, and empower youth with the confidence to make informed decisions. By prioritizing education and accessibility, we can ensure that young people have the knowledge and resources they need for a healthier future. Thank you for listening and considering my words today.
Thank you, Ms. Pinheiro. Kai Johnson.
Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members on the DC Committee of the Whole. I'm Kai Johnson. I'm 17, a Ward 7 DC resident and a junior at Jackson Marine High School. After I graduate, I would like to go to college and to major in law and eventually work in a field that's in the legal system. I have been working for the Young Women's Project as a mental health advocate since October, where we teach young people about the importance of mental health and how to maintain it. I joined this project so I become a voice for those who don't have the ability to speak for themselves and have the opportunity to give struggling people the ability to take control of their lives. I would like to ask you for your time today to touch upon the pressing matters students face concerning mental health and well-being in DC public schools, and what can be done about it. Mental health and wellness is an extremely important issue for me personally because of the role it has in my own life, my family, and even at school. There was once a time where I was losing an ongoing battle with depression and anxiety, in part due to the overwhelming responsibilities of performance at school. More than 30% of the youth surveyed by YWP said that they were sad and depressed, so much so that they stopped doing regular activities. Mental health is a topic that is heavily stigmatized, especially within marginalized communities, part of the reason it took me so long to receive the care that I needed. This happened in part due to resources at school, through counselors and school therapists. I'm only one of the many voices in coping with the adverse effects the American school system has on students. I stated that before I work as a mental health advocate for YWP. What that entails is learning about the impact stress, trauma, and sleep have on mental health. I'm in charge of learning about mental health, specifically ways to cope with stress, time management, and how to form healthy sleep habits, as well as how to manage relationships. Students need more resources like these for mental health, as it's not covered that much in regular health classes, especially since there are present issues regarding ICE during public raids in DC, putting children that weren't born here at risk of death. These ICE situations can be extremely stressful for students, which can jeopardize their mental health and their schooling. My school, Jackson Reed, as well as other DCPS schools, have not been able to accommodate for this mental health epidemic we're currently in. This is an issue because if left unchecked, poor mental health can result in low grades, unemployment, and even suicidal ideations and/or tendencies. For example, when asked about the presence of mental health wellness support offered by counselors in schools, 68% of students who took the YWP mental health assessment survey reported that they received little to no mental health support from their counselors. Our studies also show that only 8% of youth could confide in their school counselors or teachers if considering suicide. This demonstrates that a substantial amount of kids who committed suicide didn't have professionals that they could trust with their mental health issues. Suicide is such a personal topic for me because I was once someone who struggled with mental health and was even hospitalized for a suicide attempt in 2022. Without mental health resources, I would probably not have recovered from it. In the light of all the issues that I've listed, I've come up with potential solutions. The first is to create a mandate for the mental health resources on school websites. Another is to push for more assemblies featuring mental health resources within GCPS. My last suggestion is to advocate for a larger unit of mental health within health programs. I believe these solutions can be extremely beneficial to the mental health crisis DC teenagers are in. Thank you for your time, and I hope you take these recommendations into consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. That's going to conclude all the testimony from this group. Councilmember Parker, do you have any questions?
Thank you all for your testimony.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all as well. And most of you, I have copies of your statements, so thank you. Nehemiah Jackson, a student at Friendship Public Charter School. Megan Godoy, student at Friendship Public Charter High School. Seth Martin, also a student at Friendship Public Charter School. Addison, oh no, we already called her. Addison. Nari Harutinian, I believe is not here. Ashley Narcisco. Anderlyn Mata. Liam Kessman. Joaquim Bell. Brian Wilson. You're Brian Wilson. Wabina Tyus, School Without Walls. Corinne Williams. That's going to give us our 4. I'm glad you're all excited. Liam Kessman. Oh no, I skipped somebody. Hold on. Seth Martin, who's participating virtually. Oh, I see that. Please proceed, Mr. Martin.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. This quote perfectly embodies what I have achieved at Friendship Technology Preparatory Academy. My name is Seth Martin, and I am a senior at Tech Prep. I have worked as hard as I can for the past 4 years at Friendship, and the opportunities it has given me are nothing less than remarkable. My peers and I have had the privilege to work with NASA and make satellites, work with Raytheon, and learn how we protect our country. We have had the opportunity to land multiple internships, go on numerous college tours, compete in robotics competitions, have political debates about solving modern day problems with high school students from all around the world. We even learned how to be leaders. Friendship has given back to their community. Friendship has taught all of us how to fish. I've used that fishing rod that I've been given to land myself at prestigious colleges like Carnegie Mellon University and Rensselaer. I'm a better student and more prepared for college and for a future job because of the real world skills I've developed at Friendship Tech Prep. I have had the privilege of being able to take home iPads to ensure that I have furthered my education from beyond my school walls. From taking college courses at high school to doing small things like doing my homework or working on missing assignments. Thinking about this testimony made me realize that it is a privilege that I am lucky to have a school that supports me and to live in a city that invests in students like me. I see the news about the budget cuts and how schools may get less money. Please find a way to not take that fishing rod away and from our future generation. Every student deserves the experience I have had at Friendship. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Nehemiah Jackson.
Good evening, Chairman. Thank you for including me in this roundtable. My name is Nehemiah Jackson, and I am a senior at Friendship Tech Prep. Schools are the literal foundation of this country. Southeast DC is very limited in terms of resources and opportunities. My school, Friendship Tech Prep, sits in the heart of Ward 8 and has provided me, my peers, and my community with multiple opportunities. For example, we have had the opportunity to meet the Prime Minister of Great Britain, Mr. Rishi Sunak, and have had many internship opportunities, great sports opportunities, and community service exposure. I've had the privilege of interning with the Air Force Office of Scientific Research. Friendship has taught me what it means to be a leader and has helped me develop a passion for leading and serving directly through its core values of integrity, responsibility, confidence, care, commitment, patience, and persistence. Our school has even given us the privilege to experience college early on with our dual enrollment program. It is encouraging to know that someone in power wants to hear from us, the students. And I'm happy to share more about my experiences
in Southeast DC and at Friendship and to answer your questions. But I also have questions for you and other members of council. What is your plan to protect my school and families from attacks on funding and our history? What will your leadership look like, and will we see any of Friendship's core values in you when you are fighting for our community? Finally, what is our place in this fight? For our city, our values, and our futures, what can we as students do to make sure our voices and our stories are heard? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I think I was at the school when the Prime Minister was there. And the mayor has announced that there's a slight increase in the uniform per pupil funding formula, which means schools will be getting some additional money. I don't know if it's enough to cover their costs, but it will be some additional money. Ashley Narcisco, who's also virtual.
Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for taking the time to listen. My name is Ashley Narciso and I'm a Ward 3 DC resident. I'm a senior at Jackson Reed High School. I joined the Young Women's Project YWP organization in December 2024, and YWP is an organization that builds the leadership of youth to solve community problems. I can tell YWP is dedicated and hardworking to change what needs to be changed. One issue that many others and I are dealing with is accessibility of mental health support in schools. Being a student, especially having college applications and other dedications to sports or clubs, can be stressful. You feel like you're drowning in work and it's draining and exhausting. But it's not just schoolwork, but also maintaining a social life. Everyone's mental health is being affected, and this is important because many are struggling and we need more help dealing with it. At YWP, I work as a mental health advocate. We learn about mental health issues and then we share the information with our peers. We've gotten feedback from our friends, fellow peers, or classmates through survey distributions. All the data we get is helpful because sometimes the information isn't covered in health classes, so knowing what is and isn't taught is needed so actions can be taken to incorporate the information into classrooms. High school is rough when everything students is doing is for college. They rack up those extracurricular activities to impress colleges, taking AP classes for the GPA boost, and maintaining all A's on their transcript. Students like me have lost sleep, and about 60% of students surveyed have trouble sleeping, which will affect their attention span and their learning ability. Also, unfortunately, many students don't know how to deal with stress because 89% of students surveyed do not know the names of their mental health counselors. And to be honest, I don't either. I'm guessing most of the students don't know how to cope because the schools don't provide nor offer support to students, and they aren't as open to the idea of sharing mental health support as they should be. Schools should promote and offer mental health support. Schools should do a better job of announcing news on school websites for access for students and parents. Should always be up-to-date information, mental health websites, or important contact information for anyone help. Also, there should be a club or an after-school activity that allows students to be comfortable and to learn how to cope with stress. Schools should have a space available for kids to be able to calm down. Just having a couple minutes to yourself can improve your mood. An available space can reduce your stress and anxiety, which can increase your productivity and staying focused. This space offers safety and peace, which can overall improve your mental being and well-being. Thank you for your time to getting to know about mental health struggles with students, and we hope you will take these recommendations into consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Narcisco. Liam Kessman.
Good afternoon to the members of the committee. My name is Liam Kessman, and I'm a current student at Jackson Reed High School. This past Wednesday, I read in my school's newspaper that there has been new proposed legislation that would ban cell phone use during the school day. This legislation is especially concerning to me because of a previous experience I had with a school cell phone ban that resulted in the school losing my phone. At my previous school, Harding Middle School, the procedure for phone collection was that all phones were put into bins that corresponded with the fourth period teacher of each student at the beginning of the day. For the duration of the school day, they were stored in the main office, and at the end of the school day, they were taken to each teacher's classroom for distribution. There have been numerous accounts of phones being temporarily lost due to this system, but my case is the only one that I know of where there have been financial losses involved as well. Near the end of the school year, my phone was not given back to me when the phones were being distributed at the end of the day. We knew my phone was in the school building because of the location tracking on it, but searches for it by myself and the staff turned up nothing. We were told that DCPS did not have the funds to pay for a new cell phone, so my parents decided to buy me a new one because I needed it for an activity that I was doing over the summer. The total cost of my new phone was $730, which we were paying in monthly installments. I'm lucky that my family is in a financial situation in which we are able to pay for it. However, there may be other students that attend DCPS schools that don't have the means to buy a new phone. I believe that if DCPS imposes a total cell phone ban, then DCPS should be responsible for any lost, stolen, or damaged phones that are in the school's custody. If DCPS is not able to compensate families for the loss of a phone or other personal device, then I believe that for the sake of the financial wellness of students and their families, the ban should not be enacted. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Brian Wilson.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Brian Wilson, and I'm a student at TC International High School. I'm also here on behalf of Ja Kente International, an organization that's committed to empowering our youth and creating equitable opportunities for all students in DC, specifically through out-of-school time programs. And I'm here to advocate for the expansion of school transportation to support after-school activities beyond sports, including academic clubs, art programs, career exploration, and other community service programs. I think we can all agree that after-school activities play a critical role in the development of a student. They provide opportunities for students to explore their interests, build skills, and connect with peers and mentors in a meaningful way. However, many students cannot participate in these activities due to transportation barriers. While school transportation is often available for sports teams, students involved in other activities such as debate, clubs, robotics, teams, theater programs, or internships are frequently left to pay out of pocket for transportation and are left without reliable transportation options. This disparity limits access to these opportunities, particularly for opportunities that take place outside of the district. I think transportation should not be a barrier to participation in after-school activities, and by expanding the use of transportation to support a wider range of programs, here are some ways that we can do this. Sorry, I'm restarting. By expanding the use of school transportation to support a wider range of programs, we can promote equity, encourage diverse interests, and we can enhance college and career readiness. On behalf of the youths who desire to engage in out-of-school time activities beyond sport, and on behalf of Ja Kente International Out-of-School Time Program, I would like to expand transportation services across TC schools, partner with local organizations, and create a fair scheduling system that will allocate transportation resources equitably. In conclusion, I think every student in the District of Columbia deserves an opportunity to explore their interests, develop their talents, and prepare for their futures through after-school activities. Expanding access to school transportation for programs beyond sports can level the playing field and ensure that all students have the chance to thrive. On behalf of Ja Kente, I urge the DC Council to take action on this issue and invest in the success of DC students. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Robina Tyus?
Yes.
Imagine two students, one whose family can afford an $1,000 SAT prep course, private tutoring, and multiple test attempts. The other, balancing school, a part-time job, and responsibilities at home, rely on free resources when they could find the time. On test day, who do you think has the advantage? Standardized tests are meant to measure college readiness, but it often reflects something else, a student's access to preparation. My name is Kwabena Tyus. I'm a senior at School Without Walls High School, and I have seen firsthand the lack of equitable test prep for students. I also have an internship with Ja Kente International Incorporated in the Out of School Time program for the school year 2025. The out-of-school time program complements career and college readiness, including acquiring soft skills that can be applied across careers. Standardized test scores hold great weight in college admissions and scholarship opportunities. A student's performance on a single test can determine whether they get into their dream school or receive thousands of dollars in financial aid. Yet we know that standardized test scores correlate more with socioeconomic status than academic ability. This creates an unfair advantage, not based on intelligence or effort, but on financial privilege. This is especially concerning when we see that the average SAT in DC is 969 and only 18% of high school students take the ACT, well under the national averages of 1040 and 36% respectively. While some public schools offer standardized test prep, they rarely improve student test scores. This isn't just an academic issue. It's an equity issue. It's not that one group of students is smarter or more capable than the other. One group has been given more tools to succeed. Instead of allowing our students to fail, I suggest the following. All public schools offer SAT and ACT preparation as an elective with an intense curriculum. Schools shall provide SAT and ACT prep courses, including official College Board materials, practice tests, and instructional support. Schools will hire SAT and ACT prep professionals and/or tutors to provide experienced testing support. And finally, free or subsidized resources are prioritized for students in low-income areas. Curriculums will include college readiness organizations to provide workshops and guidance on test-taking strategies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tyus. Corinne Williams.
Good evening, council members. My name is Corinne Williams. I'm a middle school youth leader with Black Swans Academy. I attend McKinley Middle School and I am in the 8th grade. I live in Ward 7. Thank you for letting me share my testimony. Today, I am here to talk about housing. It's important to make sure people have permanent homes to go to after a long day, having a roof over their heads and not having to worry about how pricey the rent is. A 2018 report found that almost 1 out of every 3 housing units in Washington, D.C. was in very bad shape. Many had unsafe electrical wiring, weak structures, water damage, mold, and problems with rats and mice. This affects students at school because they might lose sleep worrying about what creatures might send them to the hospital. I've learned from experience that not getting enough sleep affects academic grades and scores on tests, which is not good for our future. My personal experience is seeing tent cities all around, knowing the struggle of paying the rent, especially since it's hard enough buying groceries that are way too expensive. We need these nutrients to survive. However, we are basically paying to live. I'm asking you to direct more funding for permanent housing and ensuring timely repairs and creating livable homes. With more permanent and better quality housing, students like me could sleep better, which would give us the chance to have a better performance in school and someday change the world. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. What school are you at?
McKinley Middle School.
I'm sorry, which one?
McKinley Middle School.
Middle school, okay. I do have one question or line of questions, but I'm going to turn to Councilmember Parker first.
Mr. Brian Wilson, it's good to see you again, and thank you for your recommendations around expanding transportation access. I don't have any questions, but I do think your testimony has touched on very vital things that we need to address, from housing to even a new proposed policy around a cell phone ban in our schools, and I'm taking to heart your testimony. So thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Councilmember. So it is interesting. Let me see. Mr. Kessman, you're witness number 67. You were the first to bring up cell phones, and we do have legislation pending that would prohibit cell phones in classrooms. Since you testified about that, I did want to ask you just a couple of questions. Do you think cell phones are a distraction in the classroom? And actually, I could ask that of all of you at the table.
I believe that evidence has shown, and it's true that sometimes cell phones have been distractions in the classroom. However, I don't think that a solution would be a full school day, full cell phone ban, like when you're at school.
So then what would be a solution?
I believe a solution could be for teachers to be required to collect cell phones at the beginning of periods and redistribute them at the end, as this would give kids time to check their phones between classes, or if anybody would like to dine off campus, then they could have their phones while they're doing that, while also not disrupting the academic environment within the classroom.
But wouldn't that take maybe 5 minutes at the beginning of the class and 5 minutes in the end of the class to collect and then redistribute the phones?
Possibly. I mean, I think that the time loss would be preferable over any losses of property with any systems that were like Harding Middle School system, at least last year, because I know that, as I said, many people temporarily had lost their cell phones due to that system. So I think that collecting it during class time would be probably the best option.
And you said that your phone, you had a tracking device on it, so you knew the phone was in the school. What do you think happened to it?
I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, we would just put our phones in the bins, and then the teachers or staff members or administration would take it, I believe, to the main office, and then would just redistribute them. So I'm not really sure about what the procedure was for the staff that was collecting the phones.
Any of the others of you have a view on cell phones in schools? Yeah, Mr. Tyus.
Yes. I think that taking cell phones for the entire day, I don't think that's beneficial to the students. As yes, in between classes, they might use their phone to check important messages, order food, and other things like that. I think a better alternative to phone management is collecting the phones at the beginning of classes, so you have them in between classes, lunch, free time. It's just with that, it's important for teachers to enforce that. I think the best way to do that is for teachers to enforce that and for students to be accountable with their phones.
Any other views? Yes, Ms. Williams.
So I personally feel like phones do tend to distract students during class time. I agree with them with collecting and distributing them before and after class, but I also feel like some students sneak phones in, and that's also been an issue, especially for other schools who've had issues with receiving and taking the phones and distributing the phones back. So, and I also feel like students have trouble getting feeling safe at school, or want to check in with their parents, making sure they're okay. So I feel like instead of having their phones, because that would keep them from education, I feel like we should have an accessible phone to a teacher or somebody, where we could call our parents for any issues or anything that could make sure that we feel safe at school. Because I know parents worry about their kids every day because they don't have a visual sight of their children the whole day.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, I didn't want to call you out since you hadn't spoken yet.
Okay. I think that phones have definitely shown that they can be a distraction in class, but I think it's important to think about sort of what she was talking about, that it can be a sort of a lifeline for students to home. I think a possible fix is to handle it on a case-by-case basis. So if a student has shown that they can't handle having a phone in class, then you could maybe take it away for that semester and they can regain the opportunity to get their phone back in class the next semester.
Thank you. All that's helpful as we consider the legislation that's before us. So I thank you all, those of you in person, and there were several who were online. Thank you. You all are excused. I'm going to go to the next group. Troy, the next at least 10 witnesses are Black Swan Academy. Troy Bibb. Dasani Stevenson. Naomi Benila. Stefania Singh. All right, Troy Bibb.
Hi, council member. Good evening. My name is Troy Bibb. I am a middle school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend McKinley Middle School and I'm in the 8th. I live in Ward 5. Thank you for your time. Today, I am here to talk about housing. It is important for students to have a stable and comfortable housing environment because it can reduce stress, provide reliable space for students, and give students a sense of belonging. My personal experience with housing is having unsafe wiring, weak structures, and water damage. A report found that 1 out of every 3 public housing units in DC were in very bad state. Schools should fund for students with housing instability because stable housing is a fundamental need impacting academic achievement, health, and well-being. I'm asking you to ensure timely repairs, creating livable homes for students to be able to continue to learn effectively. Thank you for hearing my testimony today.
Thank you. What school did you say you were at?
McKinley Middle School.
Thank you. Dasani Stevenson.
My name is Dasani Stevenson. I'm a McKinley Middle School youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend McKinley Middle and I'm in the 8th grade. I live in Ward 5. I am here to talk about youth resources. Youth resources are important in my DCPS schools because they can support students' academic, social, emotional, and physical well-being. My personal experiences with youth resources is that in school, we need more money opportunities and better cleaning in my school. What I see in other schools are better youth resources such as internship.
Thank you. And I heard you say you're at McKinley Middle School. Naomi Benila.
Hi, council member. Good evening. I am Naomi Bonilla. I am a middle school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend McKinley Middle School and I am in the 8th grade. I live in the Ward 5. Thank you for your time. Today, I am here to talk about violence and why violence is harmful to our DCPS communities. A lot of people face their friends or family members dying, so they don't want to come to school or they want to take a break, affecting their education and attendance. Violence impacts schools, families, and friends. Violence can lead to death. It can leave people traumatized and even leave people hospitalized. My personal experience with violence is bad, not only because it hurt me, but it impacted people in my school. Lots of young kids are dying because of abuse, guns, and violence. When a student sees something traumatizing or experiences something traumatizing, they don't know how to cope, so they might skip school. I'm asking you to make sure schools have a counselor to ensure students that they are there for them when they need it. Not only that, but have more counselors and better security. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bonilla. You said you were in middle school. What school?
McKinley.
All right. Ms. Singh, are you also at McKinley? All right, please go. Please proceed.
Good evening. I am Stefania Singh. I'm a middle school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend McKinley Middle School and I'm in the 8th grade. I live in Ward 5. Thank you for listening to my testimony. Today, I'm here to talk about housing and why it's important to me. I believe housing can cause bad attendance, bad mental and physical health, bad hygiene, depression, separate families, and even be the cause of bullying in schools. In fact, 2 out of 3 DC residents face housing insecurity, and reports show how 2
how 1 out of 3 public housing units is in bad shape due to water damage, electric wiring, gas leaks, etc. I truly believe that having a secure place to live can be very important to youth, especially those in school. Although my personal experience with housing is not bad, I do know some people that live in unsafe environments with little necessities due to water damage, which is often the cause of bad hygiene, leading them to not only get bullied, but also feel more anxious and less confident, which can affect their grades and attendance. I am asking you to provide more affordable housing for everyone, but especially families who have little to no resources within DCPS by funding housing. Thank you for your time today, and I hope that you will consider my request.
Thank you, Ms. Singh. I do not have questions for any of you. Let's see about Councilmember Parker.
No questions, but I will say I love having so many Ward 5 residents testify. Keep lifting your voices. It matters. And thank you all for sharing.
So I like students from all wards, but that's because I'm elected at large. But thank you, Councilmember Parker. Thank you all for your testimony. Samaya Best. Is Samaya Best here? Angel Sheffield. Cornelius Moore. Crystal Lewis. Is Crystal Lewis here? Stephen Cook. Samaya Best, you're up.
Good evening. My name is Samaya Best, and I'm a middle school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend McKinley Middle School, and I am in the 8th grade. I live in Ward 5. Thank you for your time today. Today, I will be discussing mental health and why it's essential for DC youth. In a DC youth survey, 17% of high schoolers have attempted suicide compared to 0.4% nationally. Within McKinley Middle School, we have a good pick of counselors to ensure proper mental health, although in other schools, many don't have safe, trusted adults. Mental health issues have affected my friends in their schools because of the limited counselors. Without safe spaces or trusted adults, students may skip school, do badly in school, and view school as a non-welcoming place. With a safe space or trusted adults, many issues can be solved, such as bad attendance, bullying, and of course, better mental health. So today, I am asking you to provide more counselors and safe spaces in other schools for all students in DC.
Thank you, Ms. Best. Angel Sheffield.
Hi, council member. Good afternoon. My name is Angel Sheffield. I am a middle school youth leader. I'm a Black Swan youth community leader. I attend McKinley Middle School. I'm in the 7th grade. I live in Ward 5. Thank you for your time today. Today, I'm here to talk about youth resources. I think it's important and it's sad because I'll see a lot of kids in a school environment going to attend school without a clean uniform. My personal experience with kids coming to school smelling is because they don't allow us to bring deodorant or perfume or other allowances. I think students should be allowed to bring hygienic items because we are going through puberty and this is where we're changing and we need to pay special attention to our bodies and hygiene. In addition to letting us bring hygiene items, we need resources at school. At McKinley Middle School, we used to have a washing machine and a dryer. A lot of students used to wash their uniforms when they were dirty. About a month ago, our dryer broke, so students couldn't use it anymore because of it breaking. A lot of students were out of uniform and some didn't come to school at all. We are in McKinley Middle School and growing up right now, and now showing up to school smelling badly can result in getting bullied. This affects students' mental health. I've seen students crying. That makes me sad to see because I hate people crying. What I am asking you to do is to make sure McKinley Middle School's dryer gets fixed and other schools have a working dryer and wash machine so students can feel comfortable and confident. coming to school. Thank you for listening to me today.
Thank you, Ms. Sheffield. You're at McKinley Middle School? And I didn't ask, Ms. Besk, you're at McKinley? All of you at McKinley? Oh, good. There's some other schools. Sorry, Councilmember. Mr. Moore?
Dear council members, my name is Cornelius Moore. I am a middle school youth leader with the Black Swan Academy. I attend Creamer Middle School and I am in 8th grade. I live in Ward 8. Today, I am here to talk about youth resources. Youth resources are important to me because young people like me shouldn't have to go to school or grow up without resources. We need financial support for food, clothes, and transportation. This could affect a student's ability to focus. Some facts about my issues are that 1 in 5 students receive SNAP, and 35% of SNAP recipients are children. Some children may only go to school for food. My personal experience with youth resources is that I feel like young people like me don't get enough support. For example, last year, I wasn't able to get a summer job because of my age at the time, which was 13. I'm asking you to offer more opportunities to support students between the ages 13 to 17 for financial assistance and jobs. Thank you for hearing me today.
Thank you. Stephen Cook.
Good afternoon, and dear council members. My name is Stephen Cook. I'm a middle school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend Kramer Middle School and I'm in the 8th grade. I live in Ward 7. Today I am here to talk to you about youth resources and why youth employment with high wages is important. Some youth that may need assistance with financial issues that may include youth employment are really struggling these days with certain issues, especially issues that may include their mental health or medicine. You struggle to obtain the everyday necessities. Less than half of DC's Black youth were employed, averaging 40.5%, while nearly 61% of young white youth were employed. Youth who are employed, sometimes their income goes to medicine, like some people have to buy medicine for families or certain mental health issues. Some facts about youth resources are 1 in 5 district residents receive SNAP benefits. In 2024, the DC Council were assisted to increase ERAP funding by 20.6 million, bringing the total to 33.5 million to meet the growing demand. My personal story with youth resources is a story that I know will date back to my 4th elementary grade year. Back in 4th grade, there was a lot of things going on, especially during the COVID times, and I was really struggling trying to maintain my electronic devices. Also, my mom wasn't in her right state of mind, and she couldn't take me and my sisters to school with lack of resources and our basic necessities. We didn't have SNAP benefits, transportation, or more things that may have helped us. I'm asking you to fund more multi-youth household benefits like SNAP and more youth employment with high wages so they can access their own basic needs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Thank you, each of you, for your testimony. I'm trying to remember, let's see, Ms. Sheffield, you testified the dryer is not working at McKinley? So we will look into that. I can't make any promises other than we'll push to see if we can't get it repaired. Councilmember Parker, do you have any questions?
I do have one. Cornelius Moore. You talked about young people needing jobs and access to money. One program that is very popular is the Marion Barry Youth Leadership Program. What barriers might exist for more people more young people taking advantage of that program?
Well, in my opinion, some people might need more transportation, or sometimes they just need uniforms, or sometimes their parents can't take them, and it's kind of like, but also, some people might be younger than that might need to support their family in a different way.
No, that's really helpful. And One of the things I've reflected on is that program in particular, it doesn't pay young people nearly enough. And so I really appreciated your testimony. I appreciated the testimony of everyone. And I look forward to taking action on some of your recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you again, each of you, for your testimony. Tyrell Petlow, Jaman Lewis, Mekhi Parks, Daniel Chavaria, Tyrell Petlow, you're up first.
My name is Tyra Pretlow. I go to Kelly Miller Middle School. 3 residents face housing insecurity. Housing is important because a lot of students need housing to have a safe environment, allowing us as students to focus on our work and thrive academically. My school has emergency clothing resources. You can get those resources at Ms. Robertson's office. Housing instability does mess up people's grades because they do not know when they're going to school or home. I'm asking you to fund programs and DPS schools to provide students with shelter.
Thank you. What school are you at?
Kelly Miller Middle School.
Kelly Miller. I know Kelly Miller. And 49th, right? Jaman Lewis.
Good evening, DC Council. My name is Jamal Lewis. I'm a middle school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend Kelly Miller Middle School and I am in the 8th grade and live in Ward 8. Thank you for your time. I'm here to talk about violence in our schools and DCPS communities and why it's important for violence inside, outside, and around our schools to be dealt with. I personally speak on this issue because I have been impacted by violence at my school. In my last 3 weeks of my 7th grade year, I was impacted by violence during dismissal. I was shot 3 times in my chest. My brother lost his life. And a mass fight happened between multiple students, all involving the police and ambulance. I feel like this all could have been prevented with more alert security and staff. A fact about my issues in 2024, Ward 7 had a total of 1,095 reported violent crimes. I'm asking you, as the DC Council, to have more alert security and staff for violent situations in the future like this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Mekhi Parks.
Hi, Council Member. Good evening. I'm Mekhi Parks. I'm a middle school youth leader with Black Swan Academy. I attend Hart Middle School and I am in 8th grade. I live in Ward 8. Thank you for your time. Today I'm here to talk about school-based youth resources. It's important to have resources based in school because that's where we are most of the day. Well, whatever happens us outside of school comes with us to school. And it's impossible to leave things outside the door. For example, a few weeks ago, I lost my dog. His name was King and he was my companion. I would spend a lot of time with him, even though he couldn't talk, I would still talk to him. He passed away and I was in a really dark place. I was sad and people might have known because I was hiding my feelings. The point is that we need mental health. The point is that we need mental health supports in school because those sad feelings came to and then get support from my teachers. It would have been helpful to have a counselor or someone that I've kept heart to heart with who can understand my problems. If I had that support, it would have helped me focus better and recalibrate my thoughts before having to jump into an essay. All students have something going on no matter if they're trying to hide it or not. I'm asking you to fund school-based mental health supports for students in every school. If we had that, there would have been less bullying because, as the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. If we had fewer hurt people, they might not hurt others, and all students will be better off. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Daniel Chavaria.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Daniel Chavaria. I am a high school youth leader with Black Swans Academy. I attend McKinley Tech High School and I'm in the 9th grade. I live in Ward 8. Thank you for your time. Today I'm here to talk about why it's why it is important to provide youth with the necessary resources to meet basic needs. Lack of basic needs tends to be a significant factor in causing youth violence. The reason why youth tend to take part in mutual violence is that they lack the resources to meet their basic needs. According to many sources, low-income households tend to people living in low-income houses have a 7.2% chance higher of being a victim of youth violence or witnessing it compared to the 6.8% nationwide. This um this shows the great effect that lack of resources have on youth and overall violence. Violence doesn't just happen in the streets or outside. A couple months ago, I witnessed violence at my own school. I try to maintain a positive relationship with my peers, but not all do the same. Two guys that I knew pretty well had an altercation which later escalated into something way bigger, to the point where one of them tried to stab the other one in a school bathroom. Thankfully, the problem was resolved before it got to that point, and unlike many other incidents that had happened before, my school was able to keep it on down low, so most of the information was not public. My school, I believe, does a pretty good job in trying to resolve these or even stop from happening, as they provide counseling for any students that have altercations to prevent any future things from happening. I believe that this is a pretty good way of stopping it or letting problems escalate if this does not completely prevent the violence from escalating. I request that we provide youth with more resources related to basic needs, not just physical, but also mental health. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chevrier. And I don't think I have written statements from any of you, so if you want to provide that, that would be helpful. I don't have any questions. Councilmember Parker?
Thank you all. I would just say on the mental health note, it is very important and it's timely. The council has already passed legislation and works to fund to ensure every school has both counselors and behavioral health technicians. But we have a pipeline issue. There's simply not enough people doing the work or willing to do the work in our schools. So I appreciate your testimony. I look forward to working with you all as we continue to push for the meeting the mental health needs of our young people. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification, Councilmember. Thank you again for your testimony. I'm going to go to the next group. Summer Romney, Sage Fenwick. Is Sage? Tori Jenkins. Isaiah Gerald. I'm told several of these folks are online. Devin Bradley. Is Devin coming forward? You're gonna lose his chance. Jerniah Perkins. You're Jerniah Perkins? Okay.
Am I clear to go?
We'll get to you in a second online.
Okay.
Tori Hawkins Plummer. Is Tori Hawkins Plummer here? You're Devin Bradley, right? I called Tori Hawkins Plummer. Yasmin Selena? Is Yasmin Selena here? Bernard Brooks? Seven Evans? Araya Shelton, youth member, DC Girls Coalition. These wayward youth. Okay, well, we'll stop there. Summer Romney.
Good morning, council members, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Summer Romney, and I'm a proud senior at Washington Latin Public Charter School, where I have been a student since the 5th grade. I currently serve as my class representative and lead several student organizations, including our Senior Planning Committee, which organizes our class events, and Booster Club, which promotes school spirit and school culture through sports and activities. I also have a twin sister, and together we have experienced firsthand the incredible opportunities that a charter school education provides. Washington Latin has shaped me into the person I am today. It is more than just a school, it is a tight-knit community where students and teachers form meaningful connections. Unlike many other schools, Latin fosters an environment where students feel seen and supported. Our small class sizes and dedicated teachers allow for close student-teacher relationships, which has been instrumental to my academic success. I have always known that my teachers are invested in me, not just as a student, but as a person. My AP Government teacher, Miss Colt, has shown this to me in more ways than one by always being someone for me to talk to about current events and someone who is deeply invested in my path once I graduate. The opportunities I've had at Latin extend far beyond the classroom. I have had the chance to plan major school events like pep rallies, travel internationally on the France trip, and engage in leadership roles that have helped me grow in confidence and ability. The rigorous education at Latin has prepared me for college in ways that I could have never imagined. Our college counseling department is truly exceptional, working tirelessly to ensure that every student has a path to a big future. The faculty doesn't just push us academically, they support us emotionally, helping us navigate the challenges of high school and beyond. For example, when I first started high school, we had just come back from the COVID years, and with this came nervousness and, in some instances, breakdowns. However, in the words of Jamie Escalante, it doesn't matter when you fall. What matters is how you pick yourself up. And for me, that was my physics teacher, Mr. Torrance, who was there to help pick me up and navigate this new high school life. I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to attend a charter school, and specifically Washington Latin. I truly don't know where I would be without it. The personalized education, strong community, and unwavering support from faculty and staff have given me the tools I need to succeed. Every student deserves the chance to learn in an environment that challenges and uplifts them. And I hope that my experience at Latin serves as an example of what is possible when students are given the right resources and the right support. Thank you for your time and commitment to our DC education. I hope that you continue to invest in schools like Washington Latin so that more students can have the same life-changing experience that I have had. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Romney. The next three are virtual Sage Fenwick. Sage Fenwick. You're on mute. Should be a audio button at the bottom of your screen. All right, I'm going to suggest that you log out and log back in and see if that works. I'm going to go to the next person, Tori Jenkins.
My name is Tori Jenkins, and I'm a junior at Friendship Collegiate Academy. FCA offers a well-rounded curriculum that challenges students and prepares them for future opportunities. The coursework spans a wide range of subjects from STEM to the arts, allowing students to explore their interests while developing critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Through a variety of career-based courses, advanced placement classes, and dual enrollment opportunities, my peers and I have been able to engage in rigorous academic experiences that prepare us for success beyond high school. One of the clubs I'm involved in is HOSA, where I participated in the health science competitive events and competed against schools across DC. I earned first place in a nutritional test and now have the exciting opportunity to compete in the global competition in Tennessee this June. Competing in these events sparked my interest and provided invaluable learning experiences. Additionally, I am part of the CTE program where I take health science classes at Trinity University. We also have the opportunity to visit hospitals where we gain real world experience connected to what we've learned in class. Beyond academics, FCA fosters a supportive environment where teachers build strong relationships with students, offering guidance and encouragement. The teachers are approachable and motivate students, especially during challenging times. The school community emphasizes inclusivity and teamwork, helping students build confidence and sense of belonging. Overall, FCA provides the resources and support necessary for students to excel academically and personally. I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Friendship Collegiate Academy for creating a space where students can explore their passions, challenge themselves, and prepare for their futures. Additionally, I am grateful to the City Council for its continued investment in education, which allows students like me to access these incredible opportunities with the support of our school and community. My peers and I are empowered to pursue our goals and make a meaningful impact in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Let's see if Sage Fenwick is verbal today.
Hey, how you doing? I had technical difficulties with my mute button, but now I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Sage Fenwick. I'm an 11th grader health science scholar at Friendship Collegiate Academy High School. It's an honor to stand here before you today to share my experiences at Friendship Collegiate. They powerfully shaped my future and so many of my peers. I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity that I had that's been given to us and the support of our education and our mentors and our leaders. At Friendship Collegiate, we receive top-tier education that only prepares us for college, but also life lessons and in classrooms. Our teachers are more than just educators. They are mentors, supporters, they advocate for our success. I have the privilege of learning from our outstanding staff, including my principal, Dr. Jones, who even taught my dad. There is a dedication that's unmatched in the community of our group, ensures that we leave collegiate as a well-rounded, sophisticated, and a capable young adult. The curriculum at Friendship is designed to push us towards excellence. We have access to courses including advanced placement, dual enrollment programs, which allow us to earn college credits early while we're still in high school. We also have an opportunity to explore fields such as health science, engineering, and technology, and the arts that give us a head start in our careers and the passion that we have. Personally, my health science classes have been instrumental in preparing me for my future in the medical field, and I'm confident that I will be ready to step into the campus of North Carolina A&T. Beyond my academics, Friendship provides us with opportunities from internships, college visits, to athletic trainers, after-school programs, and we constantly give chances to grow and develop our skills. Friendship is just more than a school, it's a family. Our teachers and staff go beyond academics to ensure that we are emotionally and mentally supported. As a freshman, I participated in core values at our school, and now I'm an underclassman. I'm proud to say I'm an honorable student, and I'm surviving towards my college and career goals. Just today is an incredible experience at Delaware State University, where I saw students who look like me to even achieve greatness. Friendship Academy has opened doors that I never thought was possible. It's provided me with resources, knowledge, confidence, and to chase my dreams. To fellow scholars, I say, take full advantage of every opportunity, because when you put into a friendship, it's what you will get out of it. The City Council, thank you for supporting and allowing us to share my story today. Friendship is changing lives, and I'm living the proof of it.
Thank you, Ms. Fenwick. Isaiah Gerald.
Good evening. My name is Isaiah Gerald, and I'm a proud scholar at Friendship Collegiate Academy. As a senior Fine Arts Academy scholar, I've come to truly appreciate the school's commitment to flexible and well-rounded education. FCA's mission, Collegiate offers a world-class education, motivating students to reach high academic standards, enjoy learning, and develop as ethical, literate, well-rounded, and self-sufficient citizens who contribute actively to their communities, reflects the school's dedication to excellence. The educational opportunities here go beyond the fundamentals of math, ELA, science, and history. Students also have access to dual enrollment classes and AP courses, fully preparing us for college and career readiness. I began my high school journey unconventionally, transitioning from online learning during my freshman year to in-person classes in my sophomore year. This switch marked a turning point for me as I found the curriculum to be more engaging and challenging. The academic environment is designed to push students out of their comfort zone, strengthening their academic skills while supporting their aspirations through relevant courses. For example, my passion for a successful music career has been nurtured through courses like Concert Band 1, which not only challenged my understanding of music theory, but also provided opportunities to perform in school plays. These experiences have deepened my perspective and helped shape my career path. Collegiate offers a wide range of enrichment opportunities across academics, athletics, the arts, and more. These opportunities allow students to explore their interests, hone their skills, and gain valuable experience. Before my freshman year, I participated in the Summer Youth Enrichment Program, where I was introduced to music through trumpet lessons and performance experiences. This opportunity inspired me to pursue a career in music and solidified my passion for the arts. An additional opportunity was afforded to me from the Office of State Superintendent Scholars, or OSSE Scholars, where I would once one of the few students in my school to travel to university to gain college experience. I attended Syracuse University in the summer for 2 weeks, taking set in their music production, and which this opened the door of reality, a realization of how my career would unfold if I kept pursuing a musical career. It was a very satisfying opportunity as it gave me a head start to how college works overall. At FCA, students have the chance to build meaningful relationships with teachers and staff members. The faculty sees us all as individuals, not just students. Whenever I face challenges, I know I can rely on at least one teacher or staff member to lend a listening ear. This supportive environment has been invaluable, especially when it comes to mental health. The school provides a space where students can feel heard and understood, knowing they're not alone. CTE provides support to our engineering, technology, and fine arts students, enhancing curriculum, internships, and college experiences. As a Fine Arts Academy student, I hope to see more opportunities for us fine arts students in career in the performing arts, including internships, college experiences, and scholarships tailored to the fine arts field. Thank you.
Thank you. Devin Bradley.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the DC Council. Before I start, by a show of hands, how many of you have been impacted by gun violence? My name is Devin Bradley. I am a proud alumni of Seed Public Charter School, a prevention expert at the Trigger Project, and an 18-year-old resident of Ward 4. I am here today to speak on behalf of young men in our city, those who want opportunities, those who are looking for a way forward, and those who have survived gun violence but are left to navigate the aftermath on their own. Gun violence has taken too much from our communities, but what y'all fail to see is what happens to people like me, the people who survive. I know young men who have been shot, and instead of being supported, they are left the hell alone, physically, emotionally, and financially. Some struggle with PTSD, some can't return to work or school, and others feel like they have no choice but to protect themselves however they can. Survivors of gun violence deserve better. They deserve access to healing. They deserve access to healing opportunities and a better pathway to a future that isn't criminalized. We need to talk about the role that job opportunities and economic security play in preventing gun violence. The reality is too many young men in DC do not see a future for themselves because there aren't enough doors open to them. It's not enough to tell people to make better choices if we aren't giving them real choices to begin with. That's why I am here today to ask DC Council to invest in job training employment programs and survival support services that actually meets the needs of young men in our community. We need more paid job trainings and employment opportunities, especially for young men who are out of school, returning from incarceration, or trying to build stable futures for themselves. You can use these opportunities during school time to motivate youth to attend school more. Funding healing opportunities, services include mental health support, physical rehabilitation, financial assistance for those recovering from gun violence, but youth who are exposed to gun violence need opportunities to heal that are outside of the box. At Trigger University, we got a chance to talk with other survivors weekly and get paid for doing it. We also get haircuts, studio time, transportation, and self-care opportunities. More support for young entrepreneurs who want to create their own opportunity but don't have access to business training, startup funding, or mentorship. The truth is, when young men have access to jobs, when they feel supported instead of pushed aside, when they have seen a future for themselves, they are less likely to be in situations where gun violence happens. This is a public health issue, and the solution isn't just law enforcement. Isn't inve- it's an investment in people, economic opportunities, and real support systems. Organizations like the Trigger Projects and already doing the work support young men in our communities, but we need the city to step up and make these resources permanent, not just temporary programs that disappear after a year or two. We have to stop treating gun violence as just a criminal issue. It's a systematic issue where schools and education have served as the main source of protection for youth. I appreciate your time today, and I hope DC Council will commit creating more opportunities and providing more support for youth survivors so that young men and women in DC can
Mr. Bradley, I know you're almost done, but I have to cut you off. You're a minute over. Thank you, but it would help to have your statement. It's an important topic. Janaya Perkins?
Good evening, Chairman and members of the DC Council. My name is Janaya Perkins, and I'm a 20-year-old and a resident of Ward 5. As a member of the Young Different Minds, which is the Trigger Project Youth Advisory Board, I'm here today to speak on behalf of the to speak on behalf of the youth in our city who are directly impacted by gun violence, those we've lost, those who are surviving, and those who are currently trying to build a future in a community where safety is not always guaranteed. Gun violence is more than just a statistic to us. It's a reality that shapes where we go, how we move, and how we see our future. I've lost family and friends to shootings, and too many of my peers are forced to grow up learning how to protect themselves instead of being able to just be kids. We see it happening in our schools, in our neighborhoods, and even when we're just trying to have fun. This isn't normal, and it shouldn't be normal. The truth is, youth don't just wake up one day and decide to carry guns. Gun violence is a public health crisis, and like any other public health issue, whether it's a heart disease, substance abuse, or COVID, it requires prevention, intervention, and long-term solutions. We must treat gun violence like the epidemic it is, focusing on the root causes instead of just reacting to the symptoms. That's why I'm here today to ask the DC Council to adopt a public health approach to gun violence prevention, one that sees education as a layer of protection, centers youth, and invests in real-life evidence-based solutions. We need more investment in community-based programs that provide youth real alternatives, gun violence prevention education in schools like Trigger University, so that young people understand the risk, laws, and most importantly, how to make choices that keep them and the community safe. Trauma-informed support for youth who have already been impacted, because losing friends and family to gun violence just leaves scars that don't go away. And more youth voices being heard when policies are being made. Today is a start, and we know what's happening in our communities, but we have ideas on how to fix it. But too often, decisions are made for us, not with us. Our decisions are made ignoring our fears, barriers, ideas, and solutions we share. We need the city to invest in real solutions that don't just react to violence, but stop it from happening in the first place. The Trigger Project and other community organizations present today are already doing work to reach young people and prevent gun violence from continuing to spread throughout our lives, but we can't do it alone. If we truly believe that young lives matter, then we have to act like it. We need policy, education, and opportunities that protect us, not just more police, not just more punishment after the fact. I appreciate your time today, and I hope the DC Council will commit to investing in young people like me so that we don't have to keep coming back to these hearings and mourning more lives lost. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Perkins. Araya Shelton? Araya, sorry.
Hello everyone. My name is Araya Shelton. I live in Ward 7 and I'm a senior at Dunbar High School. I'm also a part of DC Girls Coalition's Youth Advisory Board, and I'm here to speak on 3 topics today. The first one is gender justice. Gender justice to me means making sure all people, regardless of their gender identity, are safe and protected. I believe every gender should have the same access to opportunity and resources. In DC, gender discrimination affects youth in multiple ways, such as lack of gender-neutral bathrooms and extremely higher rates of bullying and suicide in LGBTQ+ students. In my community, I've heard stories of my peers having issues with teachers or administrators who refuse to use their correct pronouns, which can lead to mental health issues. These domestic issues can make it harder for gender-expressive youth to feel safe and to connect. When trans and non-binary youth feel supported in their identities, their entire life experience improves. This topic is important to me because every single youth deserves to be seen. My next topic is on youth economic stability. I think youth in DC face a number of challenges, such as cost of living, lack of well-paying jobs, and housing insecurity. Many of my fellow peers struggle to find jobs that will pay the minimum wage in DC while trying to help their families pay bills. I think it's important for youth to have well-paying jobs and financial literacy programs because it can give other youth the tools they need to help them in the future. A lot of youth in DC graduate without knowing how to save or budget because those skills aren't taught in high school. Without financial education, it's easier for students to fall into debt, especially if they're going into college. To help combat this, I think the city should start financial literacy classes sooner, such as middle grade, and raise wages so youth can stay in the city when they become adults. My next topic is basic needs. I believe each youth should have access to basic needs such as clean clothes, hygiene products, and stable housing and free meals if they need it. While a world like this would be great, that's not the world that we live in today. Many youth don't have access to basic needs and are struggling. A lot of youth don't know how to access DC resources, or it may not be many resources for them. Schools and community centers are places that youth often go to, so these places should be giving free meals, hygiene products, and clothing if they aren't already. This topic matters to me because no young person should have to struggle for simple, basic needs. These things aren't luxuries, they're necessities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shelton. And I must say, that was pretty well organized for 3 minutes. Thank you. And I'm trying not to speak too much, but I will say that the council has been consistent on issues of gender equality. As we all know, there's a little bit of a uphill struggle with what's going on nationally, but we're consistently there. And we have also been concerned about financial literacy in the schools. So thank you for bringing those up. Thank you for each of you for your testimony. Councilmember Parker.
Thank you. I think it was Devin Bradley. Is that your name?
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciated your testimony because I think it points to a crisis in our city, gun violence and gun violence impacting our young people. So as a follow-up to today's hearing, I believe you're with the Trigger Project.
Yeah.
I would love to work with you and any of your peers that you are in touch with to propose ideas and solutions to address the matter as the chair of the Committee on Youth Affairs in the district. So I will reach out to the Trigger Project to hopefully get in touch with you. But I want to thank you all for sharing your testimony. As their chairman said, I've just been really impressed by all of the testimony that we've heard today. And it's just a reminder that we need to spend more time listening to our young people. So thank you.
Does that mean another hearing? Thank you, Mr. Parker. But, that was a rhetorical question. Ms. Perkins, you're also with Trigger Project, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Not just one person, two people there. Thank you, each of you, for your testimony.
Thank you.
Nahima Kanate, Ayoka Miller Aganimi, Janaya Barnes, Janine Hodge. Janaya is not. You may be it.
Hello, council members.
Good evening.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Ayoka Miller Agiyemi. I am a Ward 8 DC resident. I am in the 12th grade, attending Bar High School, Early College, DC. I am the youth ambassador with DC Girls Coalition. The DC Girls Coalition is an organization that amplifies the voices of young women, gender nonconforming people of color in DC to speak about issues in the community. The topic I'm going to talk about today is social emotional health resources and awareness needed in all schools in DC. Mental health is important to me because it has been affecting the life of many youth in DC that has been causing main problems of behavior, emotions, and physical health. Many people, just like myself, have just been stressed because of overload of academic work and making sure that school is our number one priority, while also maintaining our emotions that can get overwhelming at times. Social and emotional support systems are essential for youth to develop healthy relationships, manage stress, and develop resilience. These systems help youth navigate the challenges of growing up, including bullying, academic pressure, and social media influences. When we neglect these support systems, we risk leaving our youth vulnerable to mental health issues, decrease in academic performance, and impaired relationships. Personally, I've seen friends struggle with anxiety, depression, and feelings of isolation. I witnessed how the lack of support system can enhance these issues, making it harder for young people to seek help. In my community, I've seen devastating consequences of untreated mental health issues, including substance abuse, self-harm, and even suicide. But I also seen transformative ways of social emotional support system. When we provide young people with safe, supportive environments, they strive. They develop positive relationships, build confidence, and become more resilient in faces of challenges. So what solutions do I propose? First, we need to prioritize funding for school counseling programs, mental health services, and community-based initiatives. We must also invest in teacher training, ensuring that the educators are equipped to provide emotional support and create safe, inclusive classrooms. Second, we need to foster partnerships between schools, community organizations, local businesses, and qualified community healers. But most importantly, incorporating parents and guardians while being actively engaged in schools. By working together, we can create comprehensive support network that address the unique need of our youth. Third, we must promote awareness that reduce stigma around mental health issues. We need to encouragely have open conversations, creating safe spaces to share and celebrate the bravery of people who seek help. We need to empower young people to take ownership of their mental health and well-being. We must also provide them with tools, resources, and support to advocate for themselves and peers, but also making sure that these resources are easily accessible to you. Because what if they're at their breaking point and they don't have time to struggle to find the resources? Lastly, incorporating mental health days and spaces into the system that don't necessarily look like only staying at home, but it could also look like having a special place in the school building that allocates students to have a break while having the opportunity to complete their schoolwork. In conclusion, the need for stronger social and emotional support system for youth is urgent. It is the matter of equity, justice, and compassion. By working together, we could create a safer, more supportive environment for young people to thrive. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time, especially since you are the last witness and therefore you've had the most patience. As Councilmember Parker indicated earlier, the councils recognize the importance of mental health, dealing with mental health in our schools. And one of the challenges that we have is that there are not enough professionals. We'd like to see more. We've actually looked at some programs that would help to increase the number of mental health professionals, but that takes time. It's not something that happens in a year. But it's one of the strategies for helping with regard to improving academic achievement. Were you here when there were witnesses that testified earlier about cell phones in the classroom? Do you have a view about cell phones in the classroom?
I believe that cell phones can be a distraction in certain cases, but I also believe in the right of safety, and students should also have like some type of secureness in this insecurable school system. And sometimes students don't feel like safe in a school building. So I believe that having cell phones can be like a need or
So maybe take them away at the beginning of the day or take them away at all?
I agree with the other youth that was standing in my position when they said take it in the beginning of the school, the certain classes. I agree on that because taking it for the whole day, yes, I heard that the child had issues with losing his device, and I agree that it could be like a hassle to like have all the kids have their devices in one place with no security.
Councilmember Parker, do you have any questions?
Thank you. I thought your testimony was great, and I just want to give you a shout out for sticking around and going last. On the cell phone issue, I just want to press a little bit more. So you're saying perhaps take them during certain periods or lunch, but not for the entire day. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And then on the safety piece, are you saying that a student would need the cell phone during the school day in order to be safe, or as they're traveling to and from school?
I think both. I attend Bar High School Early College, as I already stated, and in certain times of attending that school for 4 years, I needed my cell phone
During
to,
the school day?
yeah, during the
Give me
school
an
day.
example of why you might need your phone for safety reasons during the school.
My school is known to have various brawls in the school where a lot of fighting. Also, one time it was they let somebody in the school building without security. It was a weapon brought into our school. So it was on various cases that I needed to contact my mom to make sure that she was like around the school building to make sure I'm safe. And I believe that it's more to just not feeling safe. I wanted to say that if y'all was to implement taking phones, I think having contracts with the student parents would be imperative to make sure the parents are known that this cell phone is being taken away.
No, thank you. I've never thought about a young person needing to call for safety during the school day, but I appreciate that that's a real barrier. It's also worth noting that some of our schools are already doing this. They are taking the young people's phones at the beginning of the day and giving it back.
Right.
So we have a lot to learn, but thank you again for your testimony.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you. Even though most of the witnesses have left the room, I want to thank all the witnesses who testified today. There was a lot of good testimony. A reminder that folks ought to give us the written statements. We can then include that in the record because we do have to file a record. The record will close in 2 weeks. That is, it will close at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. The time is 7:58 p.m. and this hearing or roundtable is adjourned.
Come on, get out of here.